Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brewbuilt Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brewbuilt line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brewbuilt Conicals. You can trust Brewbuilt with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brewbuilt at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is proudly brought to you by More Beer at www.morebeer.com.
Great beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia. That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No.
We're going to teabag fight instead.
You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Monday show, childrens. Welcome to the Monday show.
I'm not applauding. I sat through 2 hours of traffic to get here. It's bullshit.
Whatever. Don't be such a pussy. Should have left earlier.
Why don't you take Bart, bro?
I saw a double rainbow on the way over.
A double rainbow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
Brought a tear to my eye. I had to call my brother and let him know.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Speaking of your brother, I dreamt I was a midget last night. I dreamt that I was
a tall dream.
I dreamt that I was a midget and I was trying to bang this super hot, tall blonde chick.
Yeah.
And
It's all about attitude, man.
she was going to let me do it because I had a good attitude. I was like, "Come on,
Yeah.
you're a whore. It'll be fine." It went something like that. And then I was just about to get it in, or I don't know if I was going to be able to,
out.
because I was a midget. But I was about to,
It's gonna
and
be loose.
wouldn't you know it? I woke up. I could do every time.
Isn't that always the way?
Always the way. I mean, how often in your life do you get to be a midget banging a hot blonde chick?
Really?
Kind of often.
Once.
Really.
You can't just go
maybe.
take a piss, go back to sleep, and get right back into it?
No,
It never
come on,
works
that
like
never
that.
works.
Oh, it does for me.
It does?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, you're lucky.
You have to
He's
learn-
a doctor.
So you
Control
get
your
out,
own
just go
drink.
take a piss, and just go, come on, you settle back in. Oh, yeah, it starts, the second reel starts.
Well, for Scott, I mean, his dream has already come true.
Yeah.
He has a lot of money. He's a dentist in a rich town.
So
And he has a lot of friends. And he has a good life.
That's true. So
We're
making
still
his dreams,
dreaming.
Yeah, making his dreams happen are easy.
Now he can control his
Oh, I
dream.
see. He does that during the
Yeah.
day and at night. I
Yeah.
think.
You should be happy you woke up before you got it in. Otherwise, you might have had to do the laundry this morning. You know
I
what
don't
mean?
even care. I don't even care. I just slept in it.
I don't even give a
I
care.
slept in that wet spot. I woke up, I kind of barely woke up, but you're still awake. Like, it's a reality, but my eyes are barely open. So I did try. I was like, all right, you're not even fully awake yet. Just try. Just go back to sleep. Go back. She's still there.
Now
there.
you wake up, you
Yeah.
realize what woke you up. You got to pee. Just go out, get it over with.
I didn't even have to
Crawl right
pee.
back
I
into
just.
bed.
Were you a midget or a dwarf?
Ooh.
Like you didn't,
What's the difference?
Well, there's a difference.
One smaller than the other.
One's a derogatory term for a short person, and a dwarf is actually genetically an issue.
You're a midget.
I think I was a dwarf.
You're a
You had the big
midget.
head?
I didn't see myself in a mirror. I just knew that my head only came up to about her vagina.
How were your little sausage fingers?
That's
creepy.
That's what got you in the door.
Did you walk?
Your face came up to her vagina.
Right.
Were you walking all bow-legged like some creep?
I don't remember any of that. I only remember. The experience of being a dwarf wasn't very realistic. I only remember that I knew I was one and had to convince this broad to bang me because of it. And she was into it.
How is that not realistic? Any other day?
Yeah, you're right. I still had to beg, basically, to get some action.
Please.
Right.
Well, that's good. I'm sorry that you didn't see your dream realized. But, hey, you learned something today.
It made me sad.
You live life on the other side.
We'll always have this, though.
Speaking of sad.
Yeah. Speaking of sad, Bobby Brown's still alive. I don't know if you guys heard, but Bobby Brown is still alive.
Devastating.
Yeah, he was all choked up.
In a world where OJ's doctor gets convicted of wrongful death.
No.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson's doctor, right?
Yeah,
and Bobby Brown still walks the earth.
Right.
Something wrong. He killed this lady. Come on.
Poor lady.
Yeah.
Who did?
Who cares?
Bobby Brown.
No,
they hooked up. He was the bad boy. She was the good girl. And then she started hitting that pipe because of Bobby Brown. Next thing you know, 20 years later,
he's
dead.
He should be in jail for that?
Yeah, hey, if Michael Jackson's doctor is...
Listen.
I'd be doing 20 to life.
I was just going to say, if Doc was in jail for everything he introduced me to, he'd be doing 20 to life. And I'm only one guy.
But you're not dead yet.
That's true.
When you die, I'm going to take him to court.
You'll take Doc to court. You made Justin have fun. That's how Bobby did. He gave her a little fun in her life.
Man, she was on the downhill part of the roller coaster at that point. Woo! Right to the bottom.
Yeah.
She got real ghetto.
Is this your favorite song of hers, though?
No, I the theme from The Bodyguard,
I Will Always Love You.
How do you turn away from that?
Right.
She's singing it to her mom.
You should be playing the clip of Serge Gainsborough talking to Whitney Houston.
Oh, that's a good clip.
That'd be a good tribute clip.
We play a shocking amount of Whitney Houston on this show.
We do? I don't think we've ever played Whitney Houston.
No.
We played I Will Always Love You.
Oh,
that was like the best call last year.
2 songs now. It's a shocking.
That's 200% too much by my math.
Well, nobody else gets 2 songs.
Right.
It's true. Trophy Fire.
Still Panther.
Well, yeah. Iron Butterfly doesn't even get 2 songs.
That's
no,
true.
I think they only have 1 song. Well, they have 2, but they have 2 versions of 1 song. Real short and real long.
Well, we only want the real long.
All right. I didn't want to spend too much time in that situation.
But you are.
I just wanted to mention.
Oh, you want to bring us down.
Just wanted to mention that Bobby Brown's still alive.
Oh, we are aware.
Should have played some Bobby Brown instead.
What's his song?
My Prerogative.
That's right.
Right?
It's my prerogative.
Let's see. I got it here somewhere.
It's the way that I want to live. It's my prerogative. It's my prerogative.
I have some ghetto cousins and aunts and stuff. They're all about Whitney and Bobby.
It's got to be, right?
They're sad right now.
That's old school.
I had to call and be like, I'm sorry, Auntie.
I was cheering him on. I was rooting for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a weird beginning.
Wow.
I don't remember this being the beginning to my prerogative.
Who found Whitney face down in the bathtub?
Her bodyguard, I think.
Well, if he was really the bodyguard, he probably would have let her go 12 hours.
I don't think I have full access to my prerogative. I can only play 30 seconds of it. Is that going to bother anybody?
I'm in.
A little bit, yeah.
Doc was I heard him pull up in the Hummer. He was playing this.
Oh, yeah.
God, I haven't heard this song since I was 8.
No, right? Middle school. All this stuff about me.
It's JP's jam.
Tell me why.
See, Susie knows it over there, too.
Where's my big pants?
Your Cavaricis?
Yeah.
It's
No, I never wore the ones up here. Man. No.
And I don't give a damn.
Yeah, I learned all my dance moves from Bobby Brown.
That's some Moraga shit.
Like the right hook and the...
Yeah, and the
chop the line.
It's weird. It's like you kind of hold one hand in front of your mouth, and your other hand kind of rotates over the top of it like it's a pipe. It's a really cool dance move. Yeah, it's really odd. You know what I'm talking about, Tasty.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Hey, life imitates art.
Who's art?
He's a dick. Anyway, there you go.
What a talent.
All right, I got a big show for you today. Clay Robinson, he's the head brewer and owner over at Sun King Brewing Company. They're from Indianapolis, Indiana, I think. Did I get that right?
Indy.
And they won a crap load. There's no other way to say it than a crap load of medals at the Great American Beer Festival in 2011.
Yeah, if you want to get specific, it's a shit ton.
Did they win?
Fair enough.
Did they win like one of the something breweries of the year? Like there's small brewery of the year, large brewery of the year. I wonder if
medium
with that many medals, they must have won one of those.
I could be wrong, but I don't think so. They did win Indiana Brewery of the Year. The not Sun King, but the two brewers that run it. Clay and his partner won it a few years ago. But I don't think they did this year.
Okay. Well, we'll find out all about that. If you're into Sun King Brewing Company, and by the looks of their awards resume, you should be, then we're going to have them on the show in just a little while. 888-401-BEER, that's the number. Susie Q's in the chat room. She'll take your questions and send them over to me. Just hit the chat button on the website. Don't use the chat at our video site, which is justin.tv/brewing network. But you can watch the live studio cam there. Just don't worry about that chat room. Hit the chat now button on thebrewingnetwork.com.
It'll suck you in.
And Susie will send us questions that way. I don't have much of a voice. I've been drinking and yelling since Thursday.
Yeah, you sound great.
Beer week. I had friends in town, and opening night was Friday. The San Francisco Beer Week opening night was a great venue. I don't even know what it's called.
Concourse Exhibition Center.
Yeah, I almost got sucked into going over to that.
It was good, man.
Yeah.
Good time. And then it was after that. I went from that to Schumann's karaoke birthday extravaganza.
I got sucked into that one too.
And
you almost had fun.
Yeah,
you almost had fun, Fred.
Instead, Doc did nothing.
I went home and licked my wounds.
I almost did things I wanted to do. So anyway, I apologize. I'll be all raspy all night. But that's what happens during beer week.
That's true.
Beer week. But speaking of beer week, we still got some good things coming up. Sean Paxton's got a dinner, the Three Ring Circus, that's coming up this Wednesday, the day after Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that sounded really good.
It's like it's not just one of his crazy beer dinners, but it's actually there's circus acts there as well.
Sounds like a Vegas show, practically.
He promised Facebook today that there are no clowns. So if you're afraid of clowns,
I'm afraid of clowns.
Don't worry about it. You can go. There's no clowns.
My kids make fun of me.
Really?
Yeah. Daddy, that's scary. Yeah.
Yes. Stop. Daddy, just piss yourself again? Yeah. Get that clown out of my face.
Oh, there's one Daddy. Video game that the main character, they show it on. It's just clown with
clown guy,
twisted metal,
and they left it on there on purpose,
so that when you walk out in the morning,
yeah, exactly,
right. That's kind of awesome. Like your kids. But there's no clowns at Paxton's thing.
Are you almost going to go to the Paxton's thing, Doug?
No, it's Wednesday. Can't do that.
Can't do Wednesday.
No, that's too bad.
Well, it's Wednesday, February 15th at 6 p.m. in San Francisco. It's a three-ring circus, a brewer's dinner, and sideshow presented by Sean Z. Paxton. And it's got Speakeasy, Ninkasi, and Schmaltz, Moscow's boys over there at Schmaltz. I don't mean because they're also Jews. I mean because they're like friends with them.
Yeah.
I wasn't being racist.
Oh, okay.
But
it's both. Let's face it.
You can see the menu online. It
looks pretty epic.
It looks pretty good. Yeah.
Got gourmet popcorn to start. And then the first course is lobster and prawn mousse infused with Ninkasi Believer double red ale wrapped around
stuff
sole fillets. Wow. Second course is a special Willy Bird smoked turkey drumstick.
Wait, did you say mousse in that last course?
Yeah.
Mousse.
Prawn in
MOUSS.
Yeah. Lobster and prawn mousse.
Okay.
Is that wrong?
No, I'm thinking MOOSE.
Are you moose?
So Paxton's
love that.
not only making all this food, but he's into cryptozoology and shit now.
G-Rock. I hope that Paxton one day has a endangered species 10-course meal.
Yeah.
And it's all things, that we shouldn't be eating. Bald eagle for the first course.
White tiger is the main course.
Yeah.
Panda ovaries.
Yeah. There'll be Ninkasi-infused panda ovaries.
Oh, yeah.
In his defense.
Yeah, infused with critical hits.
Yes. This is what I want. I want him to have a endangered species 10-course meal. Let's see. Oh, man, he's got everything on this. It's a 9-course meal. And I think it's only $120. You can go right now to threeringcircus.eventbrite.com. It's Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. It looks like I'm going to be there. I want to go to this thing because I want to see the circus acts too. If you haven't had Sean's food, that's the reason to go.
Right.
I have had Sean's food, so the bonus for me is that I'm hoping that there's like a sword swallower running around or something, and like a fire breathing
dragon man
person.
No.
Yeah. Oh, what if there's a bearded lady?
Oh,
come on! You want to go just to see if there's a bearded lady?
I hope it's after my food.
I don't even care. I want to see a bearded lady.
You don't need to go to this event to see a bearded lady in San Francisco.
That's true.
You go to the Mission?
I'm picturing Carnival, that show that was on HBO a few years back.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Oh, just a bunch of weird, creepy freaks.
Yeah.
Actually, now...
It'll just be carnies hanging out?
Now I'm picturing the movie Freaks. That old black and white movie where there's some couple pinheads running around. They want me to drink out of a big goblet, and I don't want to. And
I would love this. I want this dinner to happen.
I can see the pre-show being like oddities.
Right. So go get tickets right now. You can go to 3ringcircus.eventbrite.com, and it's the beer dinner of the week by our good friend Sean Paxton, and I'd like to see you out there. I'm going to be there.
Me too.
Chilling out. All right. Then on Thursday, we've got our own event happening at Zeitgeist. Now, if you don't know Zeitgeist, it's one of the very cool beer bars in San Francisco.
Yeah,
it's kind of a biker bar, like bicycler, but also
gear.
motorcycler biker bar.
Yeah.
But not Harley bar.
No, I think it is more like
not
fixed
like
gear
leather and
versus
tattoos.
like
No.
motorized.
More like the who were who were the two groups that used to fight each other? And one group drove Triumphs, and the other drove other things in the 50s. The greaser, the Socias, and the
greasers, and the.
It's more like the Soch bar,
like the outsiders, right?
Yeah, but there's a real name for those people.
Jets and the
They're called hipsters. I have no idea.
Help me out.
I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
Anyway, it's more like Anyway, it's a great fucking bar. Is the point?
It's a good
going
bar.
off on a motorcycle,
and they still let you in.
So what we're doing is a radio show, a live show there with Matt Brynildson from Firestone Walker, and also Lars Larson from Metallica.
Right.
No, from Trumer. Trumer.
Wait.
Yeah.
One I like and one I don't. Okay, yeah. Okay.
You like the Trumer one?
Yes, yeah.
So Lars Larson will be there from Trumer Brauerei.
I was still going to be there.
We're doing a radio show with those guys just to talk about, I'm telling you, Matt's got so many things up his sleeve right now, and he's got a few things lined up for us to talk to the Trumer guys about. And what I mean is, the Trumer guys right now, they just brew their Pilsner, which I love. It's a great Pilsner.
Yeah.
But, for example, Firestone is having their first ever beer festival down.
We got to go to that.
In Paso in June. I do want to go. And one of their requirements is that you have to send a specialty one-off beer. And Trumer doesn't do that right now. So the cool thing is, I think, is that Matt's going to kind of talk to him right on the show and be like, so...
hit him up.
I need you. I want you to dry hop or barrel age one of your pilsners to bring down to this event. So we're going to get to find out how this kind of strictly German brewery. What are they going to do? Because that's the only way they get to show up at the Firestone Fest.
They could throw something in a nasty barrel.
Oh yeah, get a little sour pill.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah,
I would like that.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about, and you can come out and ask questions too. It's at Zeitgeist in San Francisco, and it's at 6:00. And I think it's free to get in. There's just going to be a bunch of Firestone beer on tap. bunch of losers hanging out. Bunch of Firestone beer on tap.
That sounds good, man.
And you can hang out with us for like an hour and a half.
I am inked to go to the Anchor thing on Saturday. I'll be there.
What's the Anchor thing?
It's the Homebrew Club of the Year kind of thing that they put on.
California Homebrew Club
California
of the Year?
Homebrew Club of the Year.
Who won that thing?
Right.
I don't know.
It wasn't us.
No.
So it doesn't matter.
How come we didn't win it?
I don't know. If we win the Nationals, we should win the fucking state one.
Every state.
You have to write a really nice essay to them.
Have to write a very stern letter?
No, it's pretty much like telling you all you did and making yourself...
Really? It's not an awards-based thing? It's a letter? It's an essay contest?
It's an essay contest.
Can I write it?
Yes.
Can I write it for next year?
JP, you are now writing our essay contest.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But they encourage the local homebrew clubs to come on, and they give X amount of tickets to the local homebrew clubs to show up and things.
Okay.
And
we didn't get any X amount of tickets. How did we get X tickets? We're a homebrew club. We're a local homebrew club.
Yeah.
I'm like yelling at Doc because like he is involved and gives a shit. So.
Right.
And it's not even in that order.
Right.
I got to get through these because I got Ron Price, another AHA candidate, on the line. So just real quick, you can go to Amazon through our website. There's a link right on the homepage. You can buy an iPhone case through our website. It's got a BN hop grenade and a bottle opener. And you can shop in the BN store. All these things are great ways to support the Brewing Network. Plus, there are brand new iPhone and Android apps in both marketplaces, one in iTunes and one in Marketplace. They're free. Go check them out. So if your old one's not working, it's because it doesn't exist anymore.
I don't have to buy the new one?
Nope, free.
Free. Like I did the old one?
Actually, you have to buy the new one. Everyone else, free.
I bought the old one.
Oh, then you're good. All right, your grandfather did.
Okay.
All right, watch all this on Justin.tv/Brewing Network. Subscribe and join the BN Army. Become a recurring donor and enter yourself for a chance to win a gift certificate every month to over to our show sponsors at More Beer.
That's right.
Morebeer.com, our fabulous Sunday session show sponsors, More Beer. All right, get all these updates and more over on Twitter and Flipboard. All right, Scott the Jew, send your show ideas over to him, scott@thebrewingnetwork.com. Send feedback to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. All right, so I told you, what we've been doing is it's election time again at the American Homebrewers Association, and in order to get on the governing committee, you have to be elected. And we've been doing this for a couple of years now so that we can kind of get the word out about different candidates and why they would like to represent you on the governing committee. We've got a governing committee tomorrow night, meeting tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, and we're talking about the issues.
Oh, the issues as pertain to me?
Yeah, we talk about all the issues and the things that are important to homebrewers.
What about the stuff?
And we give our recommendations about the issues and the things.
But no stuff?
Not very much stuff. That's too lax. We're very serious about what we do.
Things, not stuff.
You guys disappoint me again.
So Ron Price is another of our AHA candidates running for the governing committee this year. I believe there are 7 people running for 3 spots, and we've talked to a couple of them. And here we have Ron Price on the line. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. And, Ron, where are you from?
Delaware. Home of Dogfish.
Oh, home of Dogfish even. So the man likes his crazy beers from Dogfish, I bet.
That's right. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. I think it's a helpful way to, just kind of get the word out about you different guys running for these things so that people can vote. So let's get to some basics. How long you been homebrewing, Ron?
First off, I just want to say kudos to you and a big thumbs up to the Brewing Network. An awesome resource and source of entertainment for thousands of homebrewers. You've done a great justice to the homebrewing community. I really enjoy the program. I've actually listened to probably just about every Brew Strong. I'm working my way through the Sunday sessions, but I love the show and you've done a great justice.
Well, anyway, thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Don't listen to too many Sunday shows in a row. It'll turn you into an asshole, and we don't need any more of those on the governing committee. We have me. So.
Well, I guess that's enough, huh?
Yeah, that's enough. One is enough. So, how long you been brewing, Ron?
I've been brewing about 20 years. I believe it was 92. Started brewing extract, eventually moved into all grain, built a Brutus 10 clone system. I got a couple chest freezers converted into lagering chest and fermentation chest, and brew as often as I can.
So let me just write this down as your first qualification. I want everyone to understand something. Ron understands the importance of fermentation temperature control in his home brewing. Yeah.
Absolutely. As Jamil says, that's rule number 1. I can't agree more,
Well, it's not a get to it later kind of issue.
Get right to it. Yeah. I like it. Good job, Ron.
Yeah, thanks.
And have you been to the National Homebrewers Conference before?
Oh yeah, I've been. I was at San Diego last year. I went to your great BN anniversary party. That was in fact awesome performance up on stage there.
All right, Ron.
I enjoyed that. That was really cool.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, and what a great weather and just a fabulous resort there, man. That fantastic time. I'll be in Seattle this year again. So
good.
Looking forward to that, and of course, I'm sure you'll have another anniversary party.
We're skipping this year.
Yeah, we are going to do it. I think we're doing it at Elysian, but I still got to work out the details. But I think we're doing it up there. So, all right.
I think it'll be fun.
It'll probably be fun.
You know,
like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ron, tell me why you want to be on the governing committee.
Well, as you may already know, I ran last year. I lost by 30 votes, is what I'm told. With the encouragement from Crispy and Gordon Strong and Danny Kahn, the AHA is a fabulous organization, awesome benefits. I mean, they've paved the way for homebrewers. You got Zymergy Magazine, Zymergy, Pub Discount, Tech Talk, the AHA Forum, the website. They've really, they're there for the home brewers. They've paved the way, and I want to be a part of that. I want to, serve as basically an East Coast AHA ambassador. We don't have any East Coast reps on the governing committee, and I really want to bring that to the committee and to my East Coast brothers and sisters by promoting activities and programs and hopefully strengthen the AHA, with from an educational standpoint, by communicating suggestions, complaints, and so forth. I really, really think we need that, and I think I can bring it. And I just, with your support and with the right votes, we'll do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ron, I do like the idea that we need some East Coast blood in there, because the main role of the governing committee, we don't really make the decisions in there.
Right.
We just Gary and the team at the Homebrewers Association, and even sometimes the Brewers Association, they kind of bring up topics that need discussing and that they've got to make decisions about, and they just asked our input. And I think that a good spread of the regions of our country, getting some people from the East Coast and the South and a little bit from everywhere to provide that input so that they can make the decisions for the good of the group is a good idea. So I like to hear that, Ron.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think you'll do a great job just because you're a listener to the program. Actually, that's what I think.
I think that's the only reason.
Well, win or lose, I'll still be listening. So you can count on me there.
Even better.
Okay, a question is, if you lose by 10 votes this time, will you run again next year?
Good question.
Well, I think I will, but let's get through this, this round first, and then we'll see how things fare there, and then make a decision after that. But
spoken like a good politician, by the way.
Yeah.
Focus on the now. I don't want to know your plans for 2 years down the road. I don't want that. No, now.
Well, speaking of the now, Justin, are you going to enact your policy of supporting the guy who we have on the line for this half an hour?
Well, I was going to change the policy a little bit. I had an important question about that. Ron, I just wondered how much you would pay me to pad the votes a little bit in your favor.
It's called airtime.
And by the way, paying in beer is fine.
I was just going to say, a couple cases of homebrew, will that work?
Yeah. All right, I changed my endorsement from last week and the week before and the week before that.
Now it's Ron Price.
It's now Ron Price.
All right, Ron Price.
Ron Price now has
the best candidate.
I, however, require a money order.
Do you think that next year everyone will request to be the last person interviewed?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Well, actually, it should be the people that actually have the beer here.
Oh, that's true. We really could turn this into a bribery situation.
Next year, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a debate.
Oh,
we're going to pick a topic, and we're going to do a proper debate with all of the candidates.
Homebrewers don't debate, though. They don't just go, I don't know, I like you, and you like me.
I know. I think it'd be awesome.
It would be great.
Just to see, because I'm sure there'll be one guy just no! Right. He'll be like the me of the group.
Ron, will you be the F it, we're all friends here guy, or will you be the no guy?
Well, I could be both, I guess, but, hey.
Whatever's needed.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's your answer, Ron. Whatever you guys need me to be, I'll be.
Remember, Justin, in politics, it's not called bribery. It's called lobbying.
Oh, lobbying. That's true. That's true.
How about we get a case of beer from each of them, and best brewer wins?
That's our best.
Our support.
Right.
I like that idea. Hey.
It's not bad, right? We could maybe do that.
Because then we can fall back on, hey, you know what you're doing.
That's true. The beer was good. It showed it. Well, Ron, all kidding aside, it sounds like you've got a good reason to join the governing committee, and I like that you're from the East Coast there, too, where my family's from, although not Delaware. So I like to hear that. You can vote for Ron or any of the candidates over at homebrewersassociation.org, and they'll be putting their statements and profiles up there, and then you can cast your vote for any one of the guys, and Ron Price is one of them. He's run for a couple of years now and lost by just a small margin last year, so sounds to me like he's pretty dedicated and interested about being on that board. And you know what? I know it sounds kind of cliche, but that's half the battle. You really want someone who wants to be there and wants to be there bad, so sounds pretty good to me. Anything else, Ron, before we go?
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Seattle again, and just keep the good words coming. I mean, you guys are great. I really appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. And let's do it. I mean, I just want to win this one.
All right, I'm rooting for Ron this week, everybody. Thanks for being on the program, brother. Cheers.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Equal time.
All right. Sounds like either way, we're going to be seeing Ron out in Seattle. I like to hear that. Went to the anniversary party, which means he probably doesn't remember most of the rest of the week.
Which is good for us.
It's a good kickoff party.
Yeah. All right. American Homebrewers Association, I think actually just homebrewersassociation.org, and go check it out. And, the most important thing, and all these candidates who are on the program, they know this. Really, the most important thing is that you go vote, and the voting over the last few years has really increased, and that part of that started with an increase in membership with the AHA, but it also really came from having these guys on the Brewing Network too, because you get to hear them and you get involved. So if you're an AHA member, and you should be. You can do that also through our homepage. There's an AHA button right there, and you can become a member, and we get a little kickback from that too, so it's a nice way to support us both. But more importantly, if you're a member, just vote. Just vote for one of these guys, because it really shows the AHA that you're paying attention as well, and that these are the things they're important to you. And I'm telling you, the guys sitting around that table, and women, forgive me, the men and women sitting around that table,
he or she,
they really do speak their minds for you guys. They have a lot to say, and they're constantly looking out for the competition aspect of the Homebrewers Association, the pub discount program aspect of your membership, the Zymergy, every bit of it's important to the people sitting around that table. So, vote for the one you think's going to represent you best. Good enough?
Great enough, as a matter of fact. I think it's too good. I think we have it too good as homebrewers nowadays.
Let's go back and make it worse.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm on the committee. Don't worry.
I will take this project and...
Yeah, that's how my contributions go every time. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Clay Robinson from Sun King Brewing in Indianapolis. And we'll talk about the GABF medals that they've won, their history, and they're now like the third largest brewery in the state, I believe. So, pretty big deal. Hang in there. 888-401-BEER if you got questions, or hit the chat now button. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hi, I'm Jamel Zanishev, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Home Brewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
Nico, listen, our lawyers said that we had to do this for 1 hour, and after this, we don't have to talk to each other for 3 more months, I think, to the next meeting.
Kids, come on, let's get out of here.
I'm supposed to have more lines. I'm the professional. Hey, it's Sully.
And I'm Nico.
And we opened the 21st Amendment 9 years ago at 563 2nd Street in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park, to make great beer and have a great time doing it.
That's right, because to us, the 21st Amendment is more than just the right to make beer. It's the right to experiment, to be innovative, and just do things differently. And so now, we're putting our craft beer in cans.
That's right, cans. You can find our world-famous Hell or High Watermelon Wheat Beer and Brew Free or Die IPA throughout California and Alaska.
And now it's also available on draft at select accounts in the Bay Area.
So next time you're at your local neighborhood pub or good beer store, be sure to ask for 21st Amendment in cans.
Because everyone likes it in the can.
Tasty crack cans.
Tasty crack cans.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients, and the best customer service in the business. Cut hours off your brewing sessions by using one of their 11 varieties of famous Williams malt extract. Their new Snap-Lock stainless steel cam-lock fittings will make connecting your pump or heat exchanger quick and easy. Or check out their exclusive paintball tank-based draft beer equipment. They even have their own line of precision hydrometers. Go to williamsbrewing.com to browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
This is www.thebrewingnetwork.com.
Sit down next to it, grab yourself a paper towel, and watch those yeast have sex.
You're listening to the Brewing Network.
I didn't mean to hurt your buddy. I didn't mean to steal her away. I know she meant a lot to you, buddy, but she and I are here to stay. You know, I kinda had a feeling that something was wrong when I was drunk last night, but not as drunk as your mom. I know you don't like seeing us together. I know you've known her your whole life. I still don't know just how we got together, but she started looking good around 5. You know, I kinda had a feeling that something was wrong when I was drunk last night, but not as drunk as your mom. To call me daddy, and I sure as hell ain't gonna call you son. I bet you never thought I'd be your daddy. Now go out back and mow the damn lawn. You know, I kinda had a feeling that something was wrong, 'cause I was drunk last night, but not as drunk as your mom. 'Cause I was drunk last night, but not as drunk as your mom.
session. Brewing up our next batch of Radio Gold. Right now.
Welcome back to the program, boys and girls. Thanks for sticking with us. We're about to talk to Clay Robinson from Sun King Brewing. But first of all, as we talk to Clay and we're talking about different recipes and different beers and things like that, there's one thing I want you to keep in mind, and that's that you can get free brewing software for 21 days over at beersmith.com. That's right. At beersmith.com, you get a free 21-day trial version of the Beersmith brewing software, which is hands down the best brewing software on the market. It's very robust. You can do a ton of things with it. As a home brewer, you won't even use half the features that are in this program, unless you just kind of like to sit around and geek out. But you can track inventory, schedule brewing activities, convert recipes automatically from all grain to extract. That's a fun thing to do, especially for new brewers and brewers kind of moving from extract up to all grain, too. You can move some of your favorite recipes that way. Over 300 recipes available at beersmith.com recipe site, and thousands more across the web. Beersmith equipment profiles even let you match your personal equipment to the system. You can adjust any recipe to your equipment in a few seconds. So, you can adjust your efficiency and, all the stuff you could do with some of the other software, except it's much more robust. It's available both on Mac and a PC. And if you have a problem with it, the guy will even answer your email,
which is
about
rare
what's wrong with your brewing software.
Yeah, in the brewing software realm, that's a rarity.
The guy also writes a blog. It's blog.beersmith.com. It's Brad's his name over there, and he's a nice dude. Actually, he does a podcast, too. I think I'm going to be a guest on the show in a couple weeks. He talks to different, beer luminaries like me.
Yeah, we are? You and I?
Like me.
What's this we stuff?
Yeah. Anyway, you don't have to take my word for it. There's a free 21-day trial. Just go to beersmith.com and check it out.
He does give you email updates and cool little tips and all kinds of stuff.
It's good stuff.
Can you take our word for it?
No.
Shit.
All right, let's talk to Clay Robinson. He's from Sun King Brewing. Clay, you with us?
I am here. How we doing?
We're doing great. Hey, thanks for being on the program. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Clay, where is Sun King located exactly, so I make sure I don't screw this up?
On the Sun.
Sun King is located in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay. And you guys...
We're in the middle of the Midwest.
Middle of the Midwest, right where I fly over all the time.
Exactly.
Is where you're saying. And you guys, according to my notes, were the first brewery since 1948. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a local brewery, the Indianapolis Brewing Company, that shuttered its doors somewhere after Prohibition. We're the first full-scale production brewery. We had a dozen or so brew pubs around town, but nobody was crafting beer and distributing it to our local area with that as their real purpose.
Okay, so Sun King doesn't have like a restaurant attached and things like that. You're a production brewery. You're a real we just make beer.
Yes, we are a 27,000 square foot facility. We started out with about 13, but have grown over the past few years. And we're a straight up production facility. We do have about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet that is a tasting room that we do sampling and cocktails as well as cans, merch, all of that stuff. But our main focus is beer. We don't do food. We just do beer.
That's a pretty big facility.
Beer is food, man.
That's right.
Well, beer is food, true.
So... you say you expanded from 13,000 square feet. Did you? Was it the same building that you just kind of started buying the rest of it?
Yeah, it is the same building. We lease, but there's a mirror image of the original space on the other side of the wall.
Okay.
And conveniently, as we were growing and becoming more successful, the people on the other side of the wall who run a tire balancing, they make automated tire balancing equipment out of Detroit. They were kind of downsizing, so. Over the course of the last few years, they started downsizing. We started needing more space, so we shared some warehouse space for a while. And at the beginning of this year, they moved to another building, and we took over the whole facility and their offices and everything. So
good for you.
Can you think of two industries that are more polar opposite?
Auto and beer.
No, specifically tire balancing.
They don't go together.
Yeah.
All right.
It's where the rubber hits the road.
Yes. So, how many barrels is your brew house?
We have a 30-barrel Newlands brew house that we installed last February. We started out with a used 15-barrel JV Northwest that we pulled out of Stone Coast Brewery in Maine after it went out of business, and we used that for about a year and a half. But our first year was 2009, and we did about 560 barrels. And in our first full year, which was 2010, we did 5,023 barrels.
Wow. Nice growth, man.
10 points.
Yeah, and then 2011 we did just shy of 10,000.
Excellent work. So Indianapolis likes your beer.
They appear to like our beer.
Yeah. So let's get down to some of that beer because, we've got some in front of us that we want to taste, but I just want to find out a little bit about your history first, too. How did you get into craft brewing? Were you a home brewer?
I actually wasn't a home brewer. I got into craft beer while I was in college. I went to college at a little liberal arts school here in Indiana. And I worked my way through college at an English pub that had a 6-draft lineup with like Guinness Bass, Harp, Steinlager, Newcastle, Murphy's, and a couple of rotating imports. And then they had a beer cooler that had, 50 or 60 different craft beers from around the country at the time. And even when I was like 19, the guy who ran the place felt like if you worked an honest day's work, at the end of the day, you deserved a shift beer. So if you were under 21, you just had to drink it in the kitchen. So
nice.
every time I got done with work, I would just pick a new beer and try new beers, and that really kind of expanded my beer horizons. And then after I got out of college, I continued to work in restaurants. And in 1999, I was a server at the Rock Bottom in downtown Indianapolis, and they had a position that opened up in the brewery. And when I started there, I had to do brew tours and learn about the process, and I was completely amazed that it was a job that a normal person like myself could have. So I got along with the brewers, and I started talking to them a little bit. And one day they said, "Hey, there's a position opened up, and you seem like you've got a good head on your shoulders and a good work ethic. You ever think about making beer for a living?" And that's pretty much how it started.
Wow. Right place, right time.
Yeah.
Hardworking.
Yeah.
Right
place, right time, right attitude. I started out there actually right about now. This time. Well, let's see, it's 12. So this time about 13 years ago, I started brewing beer. I was the assistant brewer there for a little over a year, and the brewer who had come into town to run the place had spent the last 4 years in Colorado and hated Indianapolis and said, "I am going to work my hardest to take the fastest first transfer out of Indianapolis. So if you will bust your ass and learn as much as you can, then when I get out of here, I will recommend you for the position." So I pretty much spent the next year or so reading every single book I could get my hand on, every magazine, publication, trade publication. The first book that he gave me was The New Complete Joy of Home Brewing, so I read everything I could get my hands on.
Nice.
I worked 60 hours a week, even though I was salaried at 40 hours a week. And a little over a year after I started as the assistant brewer, he got moved to Seattle. And the guy who ran the brewing program for Rock Bottom at the time said, "I don't think you're quite ready for this, but your heart's in the right place, and I think that you're going to do a great job. So don't disappoint me. You're the new head brewer at Rock Bottom." So I kind of took over at that point in time, and then spent another year of my life realizing that I was in way over my head and trying to figure out what the hell I was doing.
Yeah, it's that's kind of a big jump, right? I mean, now being in charge of a fairly large brewery, each of the Rock Bottom locations go through a lot of beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did as a brew pub. We did about 1,500 barrels a year. So
right.
It was definitely kind of a shock. I went from being an assistant brewer and cleaning tanks and brewing beers and formulating a few recipes here and there to being in charge of the whole show. And really, there's a period of time where, I'm like, well, what the hell does Bill do? He's off in the office here and there, but he was off in the office doing cost centers and actually doing the running portion of a brewery, which Rock Bottom at that point in their history had their brewers do. And I think they probably still do, although I've been gone for a long time. So it was definitely a very rude awakening when I realized that the job entailed about 1,000 things that I never even imagined it entailed.
So just, for some of our homebrew listeners who, want to make the jump or that do make the jump to pro brewing, were the surprises more on the brew house side or on the management side?
They were definitely on both sides. I would actually say that the surprises were more on the management side. In the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and even most of the 2000s before Rock Bottom became the part of that whole Craftworks area of the world. Each and every brewer at every location was responsible for all of their own recipes, and at the same point in time was responsible for the cost centers. And I've never really run, at that point, I'd never really run a business on that level before. So, the administrative aspects, the TTB filings, the monthly paperwork that went along with everything that I had to do was definitely a little bit overwhelming. So there were a whole lot of things that go into, it was the first part, I was the assistant brewer for a year or so, and it was really a rude awakening in that, as an assistant brewer, and actually when I left Rock Bottom, I said that if I ever got back into brewing, that what I wanted to do was be an assistant brewer, because as an assistant brewer, your job is to actually make beer. But as a head brewer, your job is actually to administrate everything, manage raw materials, schedule, and you do still get to make beer, but the assistant brewer job, that's the life for me.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of say back to you, Clay, that as I'm listening to you, I hear you say things like, rude awakening and a little more difficult and some challenges. What I really hear is your brewing job became a miserable job of like kind of paperwork and management that you did not get into. That's not why you got into brewing.
Yeah, that is exactly what. And actually, after 4 years with Rock Bottom, I actually left, and I wasn't sure that brewing was what I wanted to do with my life. I spent a couple of years working part-time construction and traveling, kind of enjoying my life and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And at the end of a couple of years of time working construction and the ends not quite meeting, I realized that what I really did want to do was brew beer. And that was in 2005. My friend Dave Coles, who is my co-founder and business partner at Sun King, he was at the Ram downtown Indianapolis as well, which is a few blocks away, and we had been friends actually since before I started brewing, because he was the assistant brewer at a little brew pub called Circle V. And when I was in college and wanted craft beer kegs, they were one of the only craft breweries in the area that actually sold kegs. So Dave used to help me load kegs into my car in like 97, 98. So Dave called and said, hey, the Ram is expanding, opening another location, and we're expanding brewing operations at our main store, and I need somebody who knows how to operate a brewery. And it was at perfect timing when I was actually running out of money trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So I started working with Dave at the end of 2005, and at that point in time, over beers in a casual manner, we started this conversation about what would you do if you could open your own brewery, and that really spiraled into what was the best job you ever had, the worst job you ever had, what you love about this job, what you hate about this job.
These are questions from your partner, you're saying? These things.
Yes, that was from my partner. So Dave and I started brewing together in 2005, and at that point in time realized, well, we had been friends for a long time, but we realized that we saw eye to eye on a lot of things. We collaborated on recipes, which is what we still do at Sun King, and we would go back and forth, and one or the other of us would come up with a recipe, and the other person would look over it and go, well, what are you looking for out of this, and why did you do this, and what do you think about maybe if we throw in a little bit of rye here, and maybe if we switch out this hop, and just kind of bounce things back and forth. And I don't know, the collaborative process was really something that was really fantastic, because he was a fully qualified professional brewer, I was a fully qualified professional brewer, and up until that point in time, most of the guys I've worked with, albeit them great guys, they were people that I was kind of training to do the job. So working side by side with somebody else who had a similar skill level was a really fantastic experience, and that was kind of the birth of Sun King at that point in time.
Okay.
Or what would become Sun King.
How about the cash? Because you guys sound passionate about it, like you know what you're doing, but it's an expensive endeavor.
It is definitely an expensive endeavor. So, actually, during our days together at the Ram, on a couple of different occasions, we were approached by people who were business people who thought that there would be a great opportunity, wanted to open a brewery, thought it sounded cool or fun, had some money and wanted to put something together. And we entertained some conversations with these people, but through the conversations, and actually one of the real catalysts of it, we were talking with a guy, and he wanted me to leave the Ram and help him open a brewery. And at the same point in time, I really enjoyed the camaraderie with Dave, and so I was like, well, if I'm going to leave, Dave's going to leave with me, because, the two of us make a really great brewing team. And we talked a little bit more, but we kind of came to this point where we realized, talking to these other people about what their ideas of a brewery were, that if we helped somebody else open their brewery with our skills, that in 5 years we'd be no better off than we were working at the Ram. We'd be working for some asshole that we didn't like, doing something that we didn't want to do. So that was really the kind of thing. Trying somebody else wanting us to help them open a brewery made us realize, you know what, we should really get together and do this thing ourselves. So there definitely was a lot of capital involved. We actually still make less money than we made at our last jobs.
Okay.
So professional brewing definitely not really the place to make a lot of cash unless you have a master brewer's degree and want to work for Budweiser, which is not really craft brewing. So
sure. And it's only been, I mean, in your defense, and I think this goes for any small business too. I think it's good to caution people that it's not a big money industry. But also, you're pretty young. You brewed your first batch in like 2009, right?
Sure.
So the fact that you've grown a lot and that you're turning a profit is a pretty huge deal.
Oh yeah.
I'd venture to say your salary will grow. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's something that we wanted to do because it's an investment in our future. I mean, the salary cap for a craft brewer, like a professional craft brewer, the ceiling is pretty low.
Yeah.
Because you're working for corporate breweries, you're working for somebody else. So at the end of the day, like I said, we wanted to work for ourselves. We joke a lot, but at the end of the day, the only asshole that we really have to answer to are ourselves.
Right.
So,
which is often the worst asshole. Let's be honest. But at least it's you. You can tell yourself that.
Yes, so I can be a little bit long-winded, but to make a long story short, we spent about 3 years going over ideas with things. We talked with a few other people. We decided we would band together, and we spent about a year trying to plan a brew pub, which is all that Indianapolis had, and it's all we really knew. It was kind of our basic function. It's like, okay, well, you're going to open a brewery, you're going to do food. We had a chef and a restaurant partner, and we actually spent the last year we were together meeting every Sunday, going over plans and coming up with things. And in a year, we never came up with a name. We never incorporated. We never did anything. And it was like pushing a string uphill. And after a meeting one day, I remember looking at Dave and I was like, man, this is never going to happen. It's killing me. I hate the Ram. I hate working for this corporate brewery. It's sucking the life out of me. And like, what if we just make beer? And he looked at me, he's like, do you think that could work? And I'm like, well, there are plenty of breweries around the country that just make beer. No one here does it, but let me go run some numbers because I'd been doing all the spreadsheets for it anyway. And I'll see it work tomorrow and we'll talk about it. And I came back with some numbers and I said, it works. It's a completely different game, but it totally works. And at that point in time, it was like the wheels came off the train and it was headed, full speed to hell. So we really started grinding on things and everything started to hit. And within 4 months, the summer of 2008, we got to a point where something drastic had to happen because working 50 to 60 hours a week in a brewery and being exhausted at the end of the day was really no way to write a business plan. So summer of 2008, I quit my job on a leap of faith. I took off to Alaska, which is where my now fiance was born and raised, spent a couple months in Alaska, basically just clearing my head and working some construction up there and getting kind of a base, and then came back from Alaska and she went back to work bartending while I locked myself in a house for 6 weeks and wrote a business plan.
Okay. See, sometimes that's just how you got to do it. You got to get fed up and go for it.
Yeah,
and I think
it definitely worked for me. So I find that getting fed up is great fuel for angst, and angst is a great fuel for your passion. So
absolutely, and for making kind of the changes. Everybody gets. There's also a lot of comfort in knowing that you're going to get a paycheck and that's what you have to do for your life. But sometimes you got to get a little uncomfortable to do what you actually want to do. So
exactly. So we had actually the roots of Sun King go back pretty far. That bar that brew pub I was telling you that Dave worked at when he was the assistant brewer there was a guy who owned an engineering firm that was about 6 blocks away from there, and they would come in every day of the week for lunch. And that guy's name is Andy. And Andy resurfaced while we were at the Ram working together and talking about opening a brewery. And in an offhanded conversation one day, Andy said, Dave, I've been pretty successful business-wise, and I've got a little money, and, you've talked about wanting to do something. So if you ever get a business plan together, I'd really like to have first crack at it. So once I was done with the business plan, I went and during the whole course, I actually coerced my father, who is now 73. He was 70 at the time, out of retirement. He'd been retired for the past 5 years, but is a very successful, longtime entrepreneur, commission sales guy, and great business mind. That Dave and I knew a lot about beer, but not a lot about business. So if we were going to make a success out of this, we needed somebody with a cool head for business. So
it's the tough part.
Pulled him out of retirement. So my dad and I went and sat down with Andy, and I went over the business plan with him and all the numbers that I did, and we actually had lunch at the Ram location that they had opened to expand, which is the reason why I started working with Dave. So we sat down and we had like a 2-hour lunch. We looked over everything, and at the end of lunch, Andy said, "I'm in." And and he's like, yeah. He said, I know a group of people, and I can get you every single dollar that you need.
Wow.
And we'll work out all of the structure of it. So in lunch in October of 2008, I raised my goal, which was $508,000.
Okay.
Sometimes stuff just falls in line like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it definitely does.
That's a big number, but I've certainly heard bigger
pretty small
numbers.
For opening a craft brewery, actually.
Yeah.
For 15 barrels, it seems a little high.
Yeah, but I guess it helps, too, with just the production facility, which is a warehouse with a brewery in it. And let's be honest, it's a building with a brewery.
It's a warehouse. It's a warehouse with a brewery. We actually we had some grand plans for tasting room, for a fanciful tasting room and some other things, but we spent all of our money getting the brewery built out, so we never got the tasting room done. And to this day, you walk into our brewery and there's like pipe and drape 36 inches high kind of surrounding the tasting room, and it's quarantined off from the rest of the brewery by temporary structures, which is important because we actually move all of those structures sometimes because we'll have to drive semis with tanks and lift tanks off of and unload, offload, and move tanks into the building. So it's been a really great facility for us, and starting at the budget that we did, I don't think that you could possibly do what we did with that type of money right now. But during that whole time I was talking about with Dave, I spent a lot of time on ProBrewer.com, and I obsessed about the used equipment market. So when I wrote the business plan, I was looking for good used equipment at a reasonable deal. And when that brewery went out of business in Maine, I actually was getting ready to go to bed. My girlfriend was off at work. It was like 1-something in the morning, and I refreshed ProBrewer.com to check in the classifieds, and there was a listing for a 15-barrel JV Northwest, and I spent my entire career on JV equipment and absolutely love the equipment that they make and how it functions and the way that they actually stand behind it, and there's used parts available, so and new parts available for used stuff. So all of a sudden I found this equipment at like 1:30 in the morning, and I sent emails out, and then the guy didn't get back to me, so I spent like a week trying to chase him down and get to him. Before an equipment broker called me back, and I flew to Maine in the middle of an ice storm to check the equipment out and barter on it, and honestly stole it.
Really?
Yeah, we paid for it, but for what it was, we got a really, really great deal. And in the fall of 2008, nobody was opening breweries. It was the beginning of our recession, so there was still some used equipment on the market. I mean, I just bought a 30-barrel bright tank today. It's a JV bright tank, and it got put online on Friday, and I found it on ProBrewer.com, and I kind of continued to scope the used equipment market and find tanks that are useful. So, but tanks that are useful, any kind of equipment that is of any size right now is gone inside of 3 days.
Really? Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So many new places opening up or expanding, so that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. And so most people are buying new stuff. There's a lot of stuff coming over from China. There's a lot of equipment, but if you're going to open a brewery, and that was one of the hardest parts I found about opening a brewery, is that when you go to do all of the federal paperwork, which, when I was doing it was a 3-month turnaround. I hear tale that it's 5 to 6 months now for the TTB to approve a license, but before you can apply for the license, you have to know what size your brew house is, what building it is, you have to have a lease, you have to have the configuration of equipment, you have to have all of these pieces, and it's like the cart before the horse.
Right. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. And that's one of the hard things about business plans in general, that you are supposed to estimate these things, but maybe that's why everybody can't do it.
Yeah.
But in brewery, that does make even more sense. You're still out there shopping for this kind of stuff, and you can't write it into the plan.
Well, in any business, I mean, how do you can't, you have to be paying rent for a space you can't use because you haven't bought your equipment yet.
Yeah,
or have a license
or license
to have
do it anyway.
product or anything else.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It's very backwards and painful. We actually moved our 15-barrel JV system into the building that we are in a full 10 days before we signed the lease.
Okay. Wow.
So
yeah, that is a bit backwards. Well, let's talk about the more fun side of it if we can.
Beer?
The beers. That's what we want to know.
Do you have some beer in front of you?
Yeah, we do. And I got to get to a break in a minute, but I want to start by before we go to break, let's talk about this lager is what we have in front of us, the Westy Lager, which I'm sure you named after my favorite vehicle, which is a Volkswagen Westfalia from the 60s and 70s.
We actually named it after my 1985 Volkswagen Westfalia.
Wow, you hit the right chord there.
Well, I give you a round of applause for that. Nobody else cares, but I do. Because I love these goddamn vehicles. Oh, that's right. Susie does, too. Did you really name it after your Westie?
Yeah. I'll send you a poster. Actually, the poster has my Westie in the middle of it. It's got this very rock art kind of psychedelic rock art feel to it. And it's got this my 85 Volkswagen Westie kind of floating through the center of it.
Nice.
And our Westie, we used it for delivery for a period of time, and it became somewhat unreliable. It has a tendency to break down a lot.
Yeah, of course it did.
That's weird.
It's not the Westies I know.
That breaks? What?
You live in Indianapolis. Come on.
Yeah.
So we actually had one guy we banned from driving it because literally it hated him. It hated him, and every time he drove it, it broke down.
Right. You have to. They have a strange relationship with their drivers, and if you're the wrong driver,
I'll bet he hated it too.
Right.
Clay, I want you to know that before the show, I made a list of the things that I could remember that Justin actually likes more than Westies. All I could come up with was pit bulls, Cantillon, and not showering.
Vaginas.
No, I forgot. I love that. But I thought Westies trumped.
They might. On occasion. It depends on how busy I am that week. Then sometimes Westies trump vaginas, too.
Hey, one will get the other.
Right. So tell us about this lager, because I know we got a lot of ales that we're going to talk about with you also. But what can you tell me about this beer?
Well, we actually have one lager tank in our building, and it's an old Sprinkman dairy tank that we actually bought from Upland Brewing in Bloomington. It was one of their first fermenters, and they needed some space, so they sold us it in conjunction with a 30-barrel conical fermenter. And it kept being in the way, so we actually, one day my partner Dave said, it's big, it's ugly, and it's always in the fucking way. Why don't we paint it pink and call it the pig? So we actually painted it pink, we call it the pig, and that's what we do our lagers out of.
Nice.
So basically, we call it a coastal lager. Dave and I both have always had big issues with the words California Common as a beer. So it's kind of a hopped up homage to Anchor Steam. But California Common makes, the word common makes it sound so really unimpressive. So we went with Coastal Lager as far as the name goes, and it's kind of our West Coast aleger, if you will. So we use the San Francisco lager strain, fermented a little bit warmer than you would traditionally a lager, and actually that is a single hop beer with all Sterling. So we were playing a little bit with Sterling. We've got a fair amount on our hop contract and looking for some things to do with it. And it actually came out really, really nice with a nice little spiciness, but there's still a little bit of a citrus note to it.
Yeah.
I really like Sterling. Sterling is a kind of a Saz clone, so you get that spiciness.
Yeah.
It is. It has that Sops character, so you get a little bit of the spiciness out of it, but there's a little citrus that came through, and I'm not sure whether that was from using the lager yeast a little bit warmer, but it's really just a really nice sessionable. I think it's a little over 6%.
Okay.
6% aleger.
See, and that's why I'm glad you mentioned that, because to me it's almost like a blonde bock. It has a larger character than like a session lager.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Sure.
Yeah, which is
it definitely is a mouthful.
I think that the body is good, and I like that it has a thicker body to it, and I do like the spiciness to it also. But I never would have called it a sessionable one. I would have said, I like that you're going more the box style of a lager. But so, what do you think? It's just over 6%, though.
Yeah, I'm checking on my computer right now,
just in case. Has anybody on another?
Honestly, we make 2 to 3 new seasonal beers a month. So we have 3 house beers, which are the other 3 beers that I sent you.
Okay.
And I sent that because I figured the West Coast likes hops and a lot of the other things that I had in specialty cans. Like I had a Scotch ale and couple other things. But
great.
Yeah, we're into all this. We are going to talk about some of your medal-winning beers also, so we'll get into the Scotch Ale and different things.
Let's see.
That makes me sweaty.
Westy.
But it certainly tastes like 6%. It's strong.
Nah,
actually, it's 7% and 69 IBUs.
There we go.
Yeah,
that's the beer I'm tasting.
Makes it not sessionable.
Yeah.
Well,
survey said.
And this is why I want to take it with me camping in my Westie.
In your Westie,
because I prefer the 7% lager.
Not much cargo room there. You got to have a tight, little tight high there.
That'd be the only time you'd be offering beer to anybody.
Well, so now that you know that
if you can call it Westie from your Westie,
that's true.
Because that's you.
Yes.
Now that you can get Westie in a can, you can't carry anything else.
I can't now, but I'm going to have to drive to Indiana to get it because they only distribute it in the state.
We have people.
Yes, we do.
That's true. We do have people. I'll have to get it sent.
It's a tall boy too.
Clay, has anybody ever told you that you guys have a tramp stamp on your can?
Actually, our artist, it is a bit of a tramp stamp. Our artist Shane, we affectionately refer to him as our drunken Irish jackass.
Nice.
And left unchecked, he can run in many different directions. But yeah, I'm familiar. I'm not looking at one of those cans, but I know
you know
exactly
what I'm talking about. JP, maybe show that to the audience at home. And I prefer to have a tramp stamp with my Westie, so I like that it's there.
I'll bet there's stuff on there you don't even know about.
Yeah.
It's highly possible.
This hidden
that's
message
not the
stuff.
tramp
No,
stamp.
I know. I'm showing the front. So
I see. You got to show the other side
sees
too.
all the bullshit. And
before you get the prize inside, you got to show the front.
Yep.
There's the back,
and then you
just
scroll
go up a little bit
to the tramp stamp.
There it is.
I like it.
Someplace to put your hands.
He went a little tribal with that tramp stamp.
Clay, while we're on the can,
it's not barbed wire.
You're clearly using a universal can here with a sticker for the beer itself, right?
Yeah, that we developed as our specialty can. So, one of the big issues with canning that we found was that obviously you have to buy generally a truckload. You can pay up charges and get a half truckload. So
how many units?
A half truckload.
How many units is that? Like how many cans?
Truckload is 150,000.
150,000.
So.
Wow.
In order to get that can done, we bought 75,000 of that can. It actually, we hand sticker every single one of those cans when we release them for all of our releases. So when we redo that later this year, we'll be done with that can iteration, and that can will die. And the things that we have learned from using that can will allow us to use a little bit larger of an area and hopefully maybe automate our stickering process to it. But basically, we spent a lot of time. We do, like I said, we do 2 to 3 new seasonal beers every month. Our first year, we did 50 different styles of beer. And really, actually, the brewery's named Sun King because we wanted a brewery that played towards seasonality. So we really wanted to make as many different beers as we could, because working at the Ram and Rock Bottom, you're making 6 beers day in and day out. And it's like, oh, great, we're making blonde again. Oh, we're making amber again. Oh, now it's time to make blonde. Oh, we're making porter.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to make as many different beers as we could. So, right now we have 3 house beers that we can, and then everything else we do is seasonal. And we were talking for a while because we kept doing all these different seasonal runs, and I was like, Dave, I want to start releasing some of these in some small batch formats. And for a while, I was kind of pushing towards putting our beer into, say, 22-ounce bombers for those types of things. And honestly, we went into cans because we believe that cans are a great vessel for beer. The lack of sunlight, the perfect seal, there's low oxygen pickup. So,
but you also chose the tall boy cans.
Tall boys.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
12 ounces of beer was never really enough.
Yeah,
I was always salty when I would buy 6 packs of beer and I'd bring it home and I'd pour it into my pint glass and there's still like 2 inches left.
Right.
So
that's because you're American.
The tall boy can really delivers.
Agreed. I agree with that. In fact, I tell a lot of the can breweries, I'm like, listen, I really want a tall boy out of you.
It makes you feel good.
Yeah. The guys at Oscar Blues are getting ready to release Deviant Dales in tall boys, and
nice.
My buddy Dave is their head brewer out there, and he actually is from Indiana, is good friends with Dave and I. And it's when I go out to Colorado, which is where my sister lives, we go visit a lot, and I'll drink Oscar Blues a lot, and it's such a small can. I'm like, it looks like a toy. It's so little.
Right. Especially when you put it next to yours.
Well, it's so much less to tool up for big tall boy.
Might as well just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're huge fans of the tall boy.
Well, I want to talk about all these seasonal beers that you said you've kind of founded your brewery on, especially looking at your list of GABF medals in 2011.
Sure.
So I'm going to take us to a quick break. We've got some of your other beers to try, but let's talk seasonal beers and why they're so important to you when we come back. All right, perfect. So we're talking to Clay Robinson. He's from Sun King Brewing, and that's in Indianapolis, Indiana. So if you got questions, 888-401-BEER. I see some of you have already chimed in the chat room. I've got your questions in front of me. I'll get them over to Clay. Just hit the Chat Now button on the homepage. And hang in there. We'll be right back with more from Sun King.
Listening to the Brewcasters. Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeasts, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial. What does craft beer mean to you? Is it a delicious way to support your town's local brewer? Or perhaps it's the perfect beverage to pair with those delicious meals at your favorite restaurant and at home. Regardless of whether you're thinking of pints or pairings, pilsners or porters, craftbeer.com is the site where craft beer lovers come together to learn and share. Craftbeer.com is brought to you by the Brewers Association and celebrates the best of American craft beer and its brewers. Craftbeer.com is the best place to find craft beer events, recipes, great feature stories, the most up-to-date brewery listings, and resources for your next beer tasting or dinner, like style guidelines, pairing mats, and charts. Get the inside scoop on new beer releases and special events from today's craft beer insiders, and chime in to share your own knowledge, perfect pairings, road trips, recipes, and more. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
And now, Northern Brewer presents What If Homebrewers Ruled the World?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll follow me, I will lead you into the gallery area. Now, the first piece up for sale today is a Jamil Zainasheff original, a bottle of 1997 vintage Evil Twin.
I say.
A bidding for this one-of-a-kind piece will start at £7,000. And if you'll continue to follow me, ladies and gentlemen, I can show you a rather abstract piece from Bay Area brewer Justin Crossley. It's a German Doppelbock entitled Justin's Giant Bock. The brewer's notes here indicate that this beer had excellent mouthfeel.
That's just a crazy dream, or is it? With Northern Brewer, a thirsty nation can craft its own ale and lager for the greater good of mankind. Northern Brewer, the home of $7.99 Brew Saver shipping, superior customer service, and the finest selection of home brewing goods for the future.
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
Oh, the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh yeah! Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot. Oh yeah!
What's funny is brewers will say, yeah, I don't brew to style. I'm brewing my own beer, and it's like a German Pilsner, but it's black. Yeah, it's a sports beer. You know?
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer,
radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session.
tuned into this session.
Because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. We're talking to Clay Robinson from Sun King Brewing, and we got more beer in front of us from him, too, so that kind of makes things excited. Clay, you still with us, brother?
Kinda.
I'm still here.
Cha-cha-cha, baby.
Thanks. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Osiris Pale Ale.
There we go.
The Pale Ale. Oh, I think we have that to open, too.
It is the beer that Dave and I designed and brew because it's what we want to drink every day.
Okay, I like that. A Pale Ale, too, a man after my own liver. Love me a good Pale Ale. And, you guys did pretty damn good at GABF this year before we start talking about some of these beers. And by pretty good, I mean, let me just give some stats to the folks at home so they know what I mean. 4 gold medals, 3 silver medals, and a bronze. Now, I could have stopped at 4 gold medals, and you should have been astonished because that, for one brewery to do at that competition,
it's unbelievable,
is an enormous number of gold medals.
Justin doesn't even do that well.
Right? Yeah. I remember sitting there, actually, Clay. We broadcast the award show, and I'm going to be honest with you, entirely honest with you. I remember sitting there going, who the fuck is Sun King? And hearing your name and see you guys up there over and over, and I'm just going, man, all right for these guys. But I didn't know who you were. I hadn't had your beer. Good job.
That's all right. I mean, we really are. We're a small brewery in the middle of the Midwest, and we distribute within 50 miles of where we are. But I think that we're part of a larger movement of craft breweries that are small, local breweries that are founded by brewers who've been doing what they love for a long time. I mean, the guys up at Surly in Minnesota are great friends of ours, and there are countless breweries like ourselves that are happening all over the place that are people who have been doing it for a really long time and finally have taken the step to get out and really do it for themselves after working for, who knows, Rock Bottom, the Ram, Gordon Biersch, a number of different little breweries. So
sure. Well, and so what did you do? You won. Here's the things I have written that you've won in: coffee beer, Belgian style strong specialty, Irish style dry stout, and then you were mentioning your Scotch ale also was another winner.
Sure.
Here's another thing
those were the golds. Yeah.
All those were the golds. Okay. So here's what I wanted to bring up. We, in this studio, I know that you sent us hoppy beers because we're on the West Coast, but a lot of us in this studio like to try, I don't even like to use the term, but like fringe beers, because we want to see brewers making other beers than just the pale ales. And although I'm a huge fan of a pale ale, but IPAs over and over and over again. So one way to not only keep us interested and beer geeks interested, but also, I think, in competition, you're looking at, I don't even know how many entries are in the IPA category anymore.
It's got to be 100.
140 something.
It's crazy, yeah. It's 140, something like that. You guys are entering in some of these other categories where these are the beers we want to be seeing more of so that we get more variety.
I want to be seeing them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's Keith kind of made the list of different categories we were in, even just talking about those four. But we make styles of beer that are all across the board. So, what I sent you, I did send you the Westie because it was that kind of Anchor Steam California commonish style beer. But I sent you Sunlight, which is our best-selling beer. The 3 house beers that we have, I wanted you to try all of those. And we actually are a little shy on cans of specialty beers at this point in time, but we're getting ready to can up a handful of beers to send to the World Beer Cup in May. So we've got a whole run of different Belgian-style beers and lagers and American-style beers and English-style beers. And, we really make whatever we want to make all of the time. So when there is a hole in the lineup, and we don't have to brew something that we're regularly going to brew, we'll have conversations and we'll be like, well, what haven't we brewed? What would we really like to make? What have we brewed and how could we do something similar yet completely different? Is there a new malt out there? Is there a new hop that we can play with and do a single variety hop beer that, we'll incorporate into whatever style we want just to try to figure out what that hop's going to be like and how we can utilize it in other things. So, like I said, the essence of Sun King is our ability to really play and explore and do whatever the fuck we want.
Well, the one we have in front of us now might not be the do whatever the fuck you want beer, but I do like it quite a bit. It's the Wee Mac Scottish style ale.
Yeah.
This is a good malty beer.
Thank you very much. Actually, Wee Muckle, which is the beer you had mentioned, which was our GABF gold medal winning Scotch ale. That beer is literally that beer you're drinking. It's the malt bill for that beer. The malt and hop bill doubled for the same amount of liquid. So that is our Scottish ale, and Wee Muckle. I have a friend, actually, the general manager at the Rock Bottom where I started at is Scottish, and he left Rock Bottom after I left, and he owns a Scottish bar in town. And so when we were going to do this beer, we called him and said, we're doing a really big version of Wee Mac. We need a Scottish slang term, something that will fit. And Muckle in Scottish is a Scottish slang term that means really big, enormous, whatever. So Wee Muckle is a really big version of Wee Mac.
Got it. All right. Well, help me and my listeners kind of wrap my head around this one too. Is this like a Scottish 60? Where would I try to categorize this?
I would actually track it somewhere between like Scottish 50, 60, somewhere in that area. All of the beers that are our house beers range in the 5.3 to 5.6 range. So they're all really sessionable.
Okay.
Wow, is that clapping for sessionable?
Yeah, JP over here, one of my co-hosts, he really likes the sessionable under 6 deal.
Especially with the giant malt. This is a beer that I drink every day in my entire life. I try to have low alcohol, really malty beers on tap myself. And then when I can't brew, I buy them. And this is what I would do.
This is what you'd buy.
I would buy this one. It's incredible.
Yeah?
It's really good.
Thank you very much.
It's really
Tell us about the malt bill.
It's that idea that, there are several big hoppy beers that I like. Well, actually, I'm a hoppy beer fan, but there are all the beers that I like, and a lot of the beers that I like, we've had this kind of extreme movement in American craft beer for a long period of time, and this kind of idea that you have to have high alcohol, big malt, big hops, whatever, in order to really have a beer that is acceptable. But, our kind of take on what we've done with our beers at Sun King is that we've got beers in the mid-5 range, and you can make a beer that isn't super boozy, that is super flavorful, and I'm a beer drinker. Dave's a beer drinker. Everyone who works there is a beer drinker. So when I sit down and drink beer, I want to drink beer. So I'd rather drink 3 or 4 beers that are 5.5% than drink 2 or 3 beers that are 6.5 or 7%.
Yes. I agree.
That's where everybody's going to end up. I think when it's the college kids.
I drink beer for the enjoyment of drinking beer and the genuine love of it, and actually ending up fucked up is a horrible side effect.
Right.
Right.
If only I could be impervious to the alcohol.
Well, and I think a testament to that philosophy is that his 7% beer can had a tramp stamp on it, and this lower one doesn't, so it's not making mistakes.
Well, this one isn't a slutty. It's not a slutty beer.
It's not a slutty beer.
This is a refined beer.
It's more
that one just kind of goes pedal to metal. It's party. Where the pills. This one is just like, I'm going to hang. I'm posting up for a few hours.
This beer has standards.
Yeah, right.
Well, this one already expects that you already have friends.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't need any more by getting super drunk and
Exactly.
showing your tits everywhere.
So
the one with the tramp stamp will fuck you up.
Right.
It is just like a real good. It's a real good woman.
Yeah.
That one is.
With
It'll
a
fuck you up, but it'll keep you in line at the same time.
It'll make it work for it.
You know?
So, Clay, I don't know if you know this. Most
I'm
of
I'm really happy, by the way, that I can actually use the word fuck. I do a lot of interviews, and I have to kind of keep myself in check, but the F-bomb is one of my favorite things, so this has been really enjoyable.
No, you're right at home. We don't deal with those pussies that aren't allowed to say fuck.
Oh, he said fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Dump that.
Now, most of our listeners are homebrewers, so
And they say fuck.
help us wrap our head around how to make a nice kind of lower alcohol but malty beer like this. Talk to me about a malt bill that might help us do that. Some tips and tricks to getting this kind of flavor, but lower alcohol.
And or the brewing techniques to get us there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was loaded. I know.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot there.
You're killing me. I don't know. I've done very little home brewing in my existence. So
No, you can tell us on the pro side. We'll just translate it to our own language.
Sure. Okay.
We're not dumb like that.
We've done some scaling. We actually have some people who work for us, and they'll do some small batch recipes. And it's interesting how 5 gallons to 500 gallons don't scale incredibly well. I would actually say that the best thing that I've gotten out of my brewing career and working with other brewers and really coming into terms with my own brewing is that using things singularly, or choosing, say, a malt. Like, all of the beers that you're drinking aren't incredibly complex beers. They're beers that are 1 to 2 specialty malts and a single, really 2 hops max.
Okay.
So I mean, tapering it back to sessionability, I mean, that goes to the malt bill and really how much you're doing of fermentable sugars. All of the beers that you have that are part of our house lineup are a good 90% 2-row. And then it's the selection. There's a decent amount of crystal malt, and there's some really good caramelization from the kettle that really makes WeMac have the flavor that it has. We actually switched in the last year or so from a direct fire kettle to a steam fired kettle. And I was talking to somebody earlier about this today, and they were asking how we kept our beers consistent. And actually, when we made that switch in brewing systems, it made a huge effect on our beers, and we actually had to dial back our recipes a little bit, change them up. And then at the end of the day, because of steam working differently than direct fire, in order to get that kind of toffee characteristic that is in the WeMac, we had to preheat our kettle before we would run off. So as we started our runoff, we're literally, we're charring on some levels. We're really caramelizing that wort as we start out to kind of pull that toffee character back. So
interesting.
Yeah,
and
we're mostly direct fire, so that wouldn't be a problem for us.
Yeah, we can do that. But
you're direct fire, so caramelization isn't as big of a deal. So it was something that I thought about from a conversation I had earlier today, is the change from homebrew to professional brew, and even changes in systems and processes. So,
and you don't have to do, because you've discovered that by preheating the kettle you'll get that caramelization. Does that mean you don't have to do like a longer boil or something like that in order to get it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and then kind of back to your base malt. You said like 90% 2-row. Do you have a preference between an English 2-row or an American 2-row for a beer like this?
Yeah, we actually, even though WeMac is more of a Scottish style ale, so you would expect an English style 2-row. We run a silo, so we actually do kind of we do a 50-50 blend of American and Canadian 2-row.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have to compensate for that with your specialty grains? To get that,
use an English crystal.
Yeah, to get that English toffee kind of. This is a really nice
our specialty
malty
malts.
beer.
Our specialty malts. The specialty malts that we love the most, especially for our English style beer, are Simpsons malts.
Okay.
So the Simpsons crystals are really, really great malts. Out of the specialty malts that we use fairly across the board, we use Simpsons as far as English malts go. We use Castle as far as Belgian malt goes, and then a lot of Wireman malts for our lagers.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a very malty forward beer, and
it's a lot of character.
And if you're using,
I'm looking for the recipe. It's been a while.
Well, you're using domestic 2-row, and it still comes through with a very nice Scottish ale.
It is good. How about yeast? Is it an English ale yeast too?
The yeast on that is let's see, it's the White Labs English ale strain. So we run 1056 for our American name. What's that?
Sorry, we have White Labs in studio also, so now they're celebrating that you're using a White Labs strain.
Okay.
Yeah, Kara from White Labs is in studio with us. Yeah.
Hi, Kara. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So we use we use the English ale strain on our WEMAC, and then we use the American ale strain for Sunlight and for Osiris, and then we bounce through a plethora of different yeasts for everything else that we do.
Okay.
How many?
I'm looking for rest. Go ahead.
How many yeast are you using in your house? Because
a plethora.
Well, yeah, but a lot of places they only want to use 1 or 2.
Yeah,
they stretch out, maybe get 3 because they just don't want to mix and match.
There are periods of time. We have 7, we have probably 15 fermenters, and there are periods of time where we'll have 5 different yeast strains going.
Nice.
So we definitely don't shy away from that. We were actually. One of the things about us is that even though, we talked about growth and success, is that no one who ever gave us any money for the brewery has ever actually gotten any money back, and no one who runs the company actually makes any more money than they did at their other jobs, because every single dime that we make, we put back into new equipment, more, our new brew house last year, more fermenters, better processes. We probably spent $10,000, maybe $15,000 last year implementing a lab, and we've got another 25,000 on different equipment to go into our lab this year. So we really try to, it's a long-term goal for us to one day make money, but at this point in time, we really want to make the best beer that we can. So, for a brewery that is our size, to have the lab equipment that we have, and even to have a dedicated space for a lab from people I talk to in other places is pretty remarkable. And we got a brewer from Schlafly who went to Siebel, studied in Germany for a while, and James came on at the beginning of the year, and so he's been implementing a lot of different programs, and he does all of our yeast health management. We do forced fermentations on a heated stir plate for all of our beers, so we can figure out where they're going to finish. We do a lot of different experimentation around the brewery in order to make sure that the beer that we're making is top notch.
Well, that puts you miles ahead a bunch of breweries. Like you mentioned, a lot of breweries your size might not have those. But I've heard other breweries, that are pretty successful and usually larger because they've already made the investment, say every brewery should have a lab. You all should be doing this kind of testing, especially the geekier us beer geeks get. We start to notice these things,
Yes, actually, the larger we've grown and the more people that enjoy our beer, the more I notice people talking about our beer and just expressing general opinions about, whether this batch of WEMAC or that batch of WEMAC, carbonation levels, all kinds of different nuances of beer, which on a lot of levels we do weekly QA/QC panels, and we taste our beers and we talk about, differences between batches, and there are a lot of things that I would think would be really subtle nuances that nobody might notice, but there are a lot of people out there that actually really pay attention.
Yeah. There are. I mean, there's probably more that don't, but there's enough of us that do that will. And you should know this stuff anyway if you want to keep growing like you do. So I'm just applauding you on the lab side because I think it's something that more brewers should be doing.
I'm also applauding you.
Of course, Kara from White Labs is applauding you on the lab side.
More yeast,
Well.
more yeast.
Well, that's racist.
The lab stuff is great. I mean, quite honestly, I'm a really base level brewer. I came to it, I was lucky enough to get into it and learn about it, and I've spent a lot of time. And I'm really I'm a hands-on, classically trained. There were people who were instrumental in my career and taught me a lot of things that I know and I've learned. And I still, that's actually one of the things that keeps me engaged in running a brewery. And over the last year, I've actually stepped a little bit more away from the brewing side while Dave takes over the reins of the brew house and runs all of our raw materials and does that aspect of it. And I'm really kind of learning a little bit more about business and how that side works. But there's so much to it. And even talking to our lab people, we're light years ahead of where I even imagined. And I wasn't a really good science student, but I understand and enjoy the practical applied aspect of brewing. So brewing was the thing that made science make sense in my head.
Yeah.
So, but the thing that I love about it is that there's always room to grow.
Sure.
There's always room to learn.
It's like buying pants 2 sizes too big.
There's always room to grow.
There's always room to grow.
Yeah.
Or you can take them in if you
Yeah.
Or you just
if you control your growth.
Lose some weight.
I get it.
You do?
And make them fit.
I'm not talking. That's Doc talking.
I get it.
Okay.
Now we have the cream ale in front of us, Clay, just so you know, too. The Sunlight Cream Ale. What's your biggest seller there in Indiana?
That beer right there is our biggest seller, Sunlight.
Yeah.
That beer was originally, it was designed as our summer seasonal. It was one of our first summer seasonals. We kind of decided that cream ale was a style of beer that nobody really did.
Yeah.
We were looking at trying to do a lighter style of beer, and a lot of places will do a Kolsch. We didn't have the space or the time to do a lager. So we were kind of looking at styles of beer, and actually Dave and I both grew up in the Midwest. And I had some family on the East Coast, and we both grew up actually with Little Kings as kind of the tiny little green bottled cream ales that we would sneak from our parents' fridge or from our friends' parents' fridge.
Okay.
I have family on the East Coast, so Genesee was a big beer growing up with my family out in Pennsylvania. So looking at styles of beer, nobody was really doing cream ales 3 years ago. So we were looking at something that would be lighter and accessible and kind of fun to do. So we went with the cream ale. Rather than using corn or rice in it, we use wheat and oats to accomplish that kind of creamy texture from the body. And so we made it as a summer seasonal, and we brewed it once, and it actually really took off because it is great in the hot summer sun. It's actually what I drink after I mow the lawn.
It's a great...
you guys have grass out there? It's not just snow and dirt?
I thought you're supposed to do it when you're mowing the lawn.
That place is super green. Oh, yeah. I've driven through it. I drove through Indiana one time. I stayed there. I'll be honest with you. I stayed there for like a week.
Thanks for being honest about where you stayed.
I wanted to say that I was going to just drive right through it. I always just fly over the mid. I stayed there once.
No. But your life is an open book, and you want to...
I'm going to be honest about it.
Where did you stay while you were in Indiana?
Oh, shit. I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
Some hobo camp under a bridge.
Some Motel 6.
I don't know, but...
in a van down by the river.
No, I had a friend living there.
Was it a Westphalia down by the river?
I wish. I was driving some stupid old Chevy pickup back then.
It's interesting that you comment on the creaminess of the cream ale. I was about to say the cream ales that I've had aren't really creamy. They're more crisp.
Yeah. They're just trying to make a light lager through an ale.
Basically, yeah. And this is the first where you kind of like, oh, you're really playing with the mouthfeel, and it's very, very drinkable. Yeah, it's very good.
The mouthfeel tracks a little bit more towards a wheat beer, so it kind of has. I mean, we make rotating wheat beers, but we don't make a constant wheat beer. So when we get wheat beer people into our brewery, I'm like, well, if you like wheat beer, you should try the cream ale. It has kind of a little bit more body. Tracking more towards a wheat beer. It's got a really nice flavor. It's super accessible. Go ahead.
Well, if I was going to make one myself, what percentage would I be shooting for in the wheat and oats department of the malt bill? I know you don't have all the recipes in front of you, but even just a ballpark.
That's all right. On that, you'd be shooting for about 90% 2-row and about 5 and 5.
5 and 5. Okay. Oh, so just a little even on that. All right.
Yeah. It's not an incredible amount.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I do like this cream ale. It's a good beer. Yeah.
It's really good. I do enjoy it.
Fits in well. I'm loving it.
Like you want to stay a little longer in your Westie over in Indiana.
Yeah, I'm just going
to mow some lawn.
Right. All I remember seeing is corn. I know that's cliche, but I'm being serious. I drove through it, and I remember seeing a lot of fucking corn.
Well, you're probably there.
We have a lot of corn.
You guys have a lot of corn, yeah.
But only in like the...
We make a beer every year where we use popcorn.
Do you really?
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you
actually?
usually?
That was
Where
one
do you get
one of those
popcorn?
GABF medal winners was Popcorn Pilsner, which is a German style Pilsner that we literally make with popcorn.
How do you use the popcorn in the beer?
That's one of those things. Actually, I really wish that Dave would have had a chance to join us on this interview because we banter back and forth pretty well overall. But one day we try to make a lot of our seasonal beers. We use local ingredients in, and so we've used there's tulip poplar syrup from the Indiana State tree that we've made a couple of wits with. We've made some saisons with a shagbark hickory syrup. We use actually shagbark hickory in our wintertime stout. Some different smoked malts, all kinds of different things. And so we're always looking, actually, we make a crabapple wit every year around Christmas time. And so we're always looking for new ingredients and local things we can do. And one day Dave came in and he's like, I had this idea and, I want to make a beer using an Indiana ingredient. And I said, well, what Indiana ingredient? And he said, what does Indiana have more than anywhere else? And I said, corn.
Yeah,
and he's like, exactly. And I said, well, corn's pretty well done. There's plenty of breweries that make beers with corn, Dave. And he goes, no, Indiana is the popcorn capital of the world. And I'm like, okay, so you want to make a beer with popcorn? And he goes, exactly. And I looked at him and I'm like, are you fucking crazy? What is wrong with
what kind of stupid idea
That's a lot of Jiffy Poppers.
How do you do it?
That is the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life, man. You're going to make a beer with popcorn. And so he launches into this diatribe, which he's good at, but he launches into this diatribe about how the popping of the popcorn pre-gelatinizes the starches in a similar way to in which the malting process sets up the starches for conversion. So if we were to actually pop the popcorn and put it into the mash tun, it would easily convert over into sugars, and we could make a beer out of popcorn.
Interesting.
Wow. So where did he shove that medal that you won for that beer?
My first reaction, if I'm Clay, and I don't know shit about brewing, but I know a lot about popcorn because I goddamn love popcorn.
Yeah.
When you get it wet, it turns into like a mushy mess.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, if I'm Clay, I'm going, no, stuck mash. We can't do it. It's going to get all gooey and stuck.
I'm like, okay, well, how exactly do we want to do this? And the kicker is that you can't pop it with oil because obviously oil will retard your head retention. It'll make your beer greasy and it's completely worthless. So we had to air pop all of the popcorn. So
1980s air poppers.
Oh, yeah.
You go on eBay, you get 1,000 of them.
Yeah. All right, go on. And then what else? You air pop it.
Used an Armada.
Yes, yeah. So you air pop it. How much do you air pop? How much?
The first time that we ever did it, we did about 30 barrels, and we used 150 pounds worth of popcorn.
Wow. The kernels.
Seeds.
Yes, just the kernels, and then we actually air pop them, and air popping 150 pounds worth of popcorn will
that would
give
fill
you
this
about,
room.
It took 6 months, by the way.
It'll give you. It took 14 straight hours with eight air poppers.
Wow.
Was there any product loss? Because I'd be sitting there eating the popcorn going, oh, Lord.
Melt a lot of butter.
By the time you're done, you never want to see popcorn again.
man.
And popcorn is literally, it's like sand when you go on vacation. You find it for like months later.
Right.
No matter how clean you keep the brewery, it's everywhere.
I don't know. I've had a lot of beer in my life, and I can't get tired of that.
Yeah,
So I feel
popcorn, though.
Popcorn's
Well,
really
now,
good.
wait, I got JP, at that point, you'd find it under your balls.
I'm trying to.
That's
I'm
where
sure
I pop
you
it.
would.
I pop it 2 kernels at a time.
He steam pops it.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Hang on. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this because the popcorn expands exponentially between, where do you put it?
You actually put it in the mash, so it literally it's become it's a beer that we do, and actually it really it's the most collaborative beer that we do, because everyone from our delivery drivers all the way up to the president of our company, our brewers, assistant brewers, keg washers, tasting room employees. This year, we did a 60-barrel batch, and we expanded it to 300 pounds of popcorn that we had to pop, and it took us about 18 hours to pop it. And every single person pops popcorn.
Wait. Now, but that's what I know you put it in the mash, but do you pop it, and as it pops, it goes into the mash tun, or do you have a storage vessel?
Or do you grind it up?
We pop it, and then we put it into trash bags. So 150 pounds of popcorn popped. We pop it into trash bags, and 150 pounds of popcorn made 20 30-gallon bags of popcorn.
Okay,
so
that's less than I thought.
We had about 600 gallons total weight of popcorn, obviously twice as much. And then basically we do like a daisy chain where we hand trash bags up the ladder to the mash tun, and as we do, we feed it into the mash tun. Who should I send an email to since we're going live? Should I send this to Scott?
Yes. Yeah. Send it to Scott.
Got it. I want one. There's a video on YouTube, which I'm sending you a link to right now. Not that you necessarily need to see it. But,
should I pop some popcorn and settle in and watch it?
Yeah. Send it to Scott. And then we'll
But
get
it's a really great video, because I mean there are literally people like my guy who runs all of my bar and restaurants is sitting at his desk typing on his computer with 2 air poppers next to him and a bus tub, and he's just popping popcorn into a popper and dumping it. So we all basically when you do it, you add it all to the mash tun, and it totally gels up and does the weird thing, and it's enough that it doesn't necessarily make a stuck mash. Our new system has mash rakes, and so it really mixes it in very, very well. And then when you actually taste the wort, it tastes like Frosted Flakes.
Wow. I like that flavor.
It's one of the most delicious. It's actually one of the most delicious worts that we've ever made.
Okay.
So what kind of contribution as far as gravity points are you attributing the popcorn?
I mean, it works in just like you would any other malt. So a few hundred pounds, you're gonna have a conversion rate of something similar actually on that to 2-row.
So so you say similar to 2-row
into it.
Okay. So if I was going to add corn, if I'm putting it into my Beersmith recipe software, for example, I might just put the same amount of corn into my recipe as I am popcorn, and it would give me about a similar conversion.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that would be pretty correct. It converts very, very well. It gives you a great sugar content.
I'm watching your video right now too, with the dudes dumping. I'm watching you and Dave in front of the mash tun, dumping corn into the mash tun.
This whole internet phone thing, this is working great.
It's perfect. You can say fuck, and I can watch popcorn being thrown into beer. This internet phone thing's perfect.
You don't grind it up
I just thought, since we were talking about it, that it would give a much better idea of what it does. And there's even a line in there where I'm like, I thought he was fucking crazy.
Right. I don't blame you. I would have thought so too. I just said no. I like the way you're thinking, but you're an idiot. Go away. Come up with another idea.
So you don't grind it up. And we just dial it in.
Dumping it in.
Just dial it in as corn.
It looks delicious and fluffy. You can see it pouring in right watching it myself.
Does the beer taste like popcorn?
Yeah, it actually does. So what you get is and that's kind of the funny thing. You get this really great classic Pilsner, and at the very end, you kind of have this hint of popcorn in the finish. I was amazed that we won a medal for this beer. I mean, literally, we won a medal in the fucking Pilsner category, and we won it for a beer that we made with popcorn.
Oh, you got to send it to you have to enter that beer into the competition that's in Germany, too. Where there's like a world beer competition that happens in Germany.
Yeah, it's called the Verkagsbahn.
and you know, other American brewers,
they'd slit my throat.
Other American brewers have won awards for lagers there, and I'm telling you, Clay. Yeah, don't go to the competition, Clay. No. Just send the beer.
They would slit your throat and smile about it.
You don't want to be present when you win.
But I want you to win in the Pilsner category in this world competition.
That is not Pilsner, you American.
I will tell you that the greatest moment of my brewing career was at the World Beer Cup in Chicago in 2010, and I was sitting there, and I was with my friends from Ninkasi and my friends from Oster Blues, and we were all around a table, and we were literally one table away from the Germans, and they're all in Lederhosen and Lederhosens, and they got the Hallertau Hofbrau Queen. All sitting there, and we were going through the lager categories, and they were cleaning it up in the lager categories, winning like everything and strutting up to the stage. And the Doppelbock category came on, and the first medal for Doppelbock was the bronze, and it was for our Dominator Doppelbock.
Nice.
And it was like it was ringing in my ears, and my buddies slapped me on the back, and everyone starts jumping up and down, and the look on the Germans' faces as we won a medal for Doppelbock and they did not was fantastic. It was really great. And then the next two medals were both American breweries, so the entire Doppelbock category was swept by American breweries.
Oh, I love it.
And all of them were just sitting there staring at us like they were ready to eat our hearts.
That'll put some say in their Lederhosen for sure.
And I'm telling
50 years ago they could have.
And I love the Germans too. I really do. I have a special affection for the German culture, but I also have this thing.
Give us all Mexican beer.
I also have love me a good anyway, all these good beer. But I also have a thing for it's more the principle of the thing than the taste of the thing, and that's why I like when these award events happen and the Germans are involved, and the Germans can be judges, and they'll pick the American brewers too because it's the taste of the thing then when it's blind and it's tasting. And this is why you should go under the witness protection program if you do it, but you should win Pilsner with popcorn Pilsner.
Yeah, you don't want to end up with a 9mm in your skull.
Right. Yes.
Or an 8-inch folded stainless blade.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
All right, Clay, I got a shitload of questions from the chat room in front of me before we have to go. Right. So let me go through these with you if you don't mind.
I'll do the best I can.
All right, we covered that.
How are the rest of the beers? Did you try any of the others? We tried the Weemac. Did you try the Sunlight or the Osiris?
Yeah, we had the Sunlight.
Sunlight's in front of us now. I got to go get the Pale Ale.
Oh, yeah, get us the Pale, because Pale's my favorite style. Let's do that.
That's what I'm drinking.
I got the Sunlight.
Okay.
Making my question or my answers
Whose
colorful.
job was that?
Right. All right, here's one from N. Patterson, Clay. And this was kind of back when we were talking about starting up the brewery. And Patterson wants to know, do you think that a nano brewery is a viable option for starting a new brewery? Can a nano brewery make it? Is there enough volume?
Yeah, actually, I think that a nano brewery can make it, and it is a very viable option. We've got a little brewery here in Indianapolis. My friend Darren, who worked at the homebrew store for the last decade, he and I and Dave are all really good friends. And he worked at the homebrew store, and he was kind of their pilot batch guy. And so they had a 50-gallon brew system, and that's what they were brewing on. And Darren and his dad, in a similar way to what I've done, put together a plan. And I helped them and talked to them a little bit about some of the TTB filings and some other things that they were doing, but they actually put together a business plan, and they put their budget at a really reasonable level, something that they could easily achieve. They didn't go into debt to do it, and they started out with a 50-gallon brew system. And, I mean, this kid works as hard as anyone that I know in the brewing industry. His name's Darren. So Darren works really super hard at it. And the problem with nano brewing is that, as you well know, no matter how much beer you make, it takes the same amount of time, whether you're going to make 5 gallons or whether you're going to make 5,000 gallons. It really doesn't matter. So, but Darren was working, on this similar size system, and he is brewing double brews every day right now. He took about 5,000 square feet in the same strip area that the homebrew store was, and he opened up last year, and he's selling, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15 barrels a week. And wow. He's brewing it all on a 50-gallon scale. He manufactured a lot of the equipment from stuff that he was very similar to what he was working. He built his own walk-in coolers, and he has one walk-in cooler that he keeps at around 68 to 70, which is his fermentation cooler. All of his fermenters are conical. They're on wheels. He rolls them into another cooler, and it's his cooler where he crashes. And he makes great, great beers. He actually won champion brewery at the Indiana Brewers Cup this year. With beers that he was making on a 50-gallon scale. And when I was at the Ram, there were weeks that we would have which would be 15-barrel weeks. And so this kid he's doing it practically 2 barrels, a little less than 2 barrels at a time, but he's brewing 6 days a week, and he's busting his ass and making great beers. And he opens on Thursday, and he's open Thursday through Sunday, and when he sells out a beer, he closes.
Wow. Oh, I like that model.
So, and he sells every ounce of beer that he makes, and he's brewing on a scale that he's really comfortable with. At the same point in time, there are other breweries that I've experienced here and other parts around the country that have people who have been brewing on that same size scale, on the 15 to 50 gallon scale, and they've put together things, and they've jumped up to the 500 or 5 barrel, 10 barrel, 15 barrel systems. And like I said a little earlier, recipes don't necessarily translate. So all of a sudden you end up with a heavy investment in equipment. So, in order to get into something that you do, we open Sun King without any debt load, with investment. And if you do something that you're passionate about and you love it and you follow your dreams and you do it in a really smart way and do it in a small square foot, I would rather own, and I would never own a bar or restaurant after working in the industry for the last 20 years. But if I owned a bar or restaurant, I would rather own a really small bar or restaurant that was full all of the time than open a really big bar or restaurant where I felt like I was begging for customers.
Yeah, good point. Okay. All right, that's a good quote for the nano side, too, especially on that scale. All right, here's another question that came through. Let's see. I have a question for Clay, says Acetobacter in the chat room. As a straight production brewery, what sort of contact do you have with retailers of their beer? Do you do tappings, pint nights, etc.? How do you get the beer out there as just a production brewery,
We kind of do all of the above. We live in a state, there are some states where you can actually have a tasting room and you don't have to serve food. In order to sell pints, we have to serve food. So once a month, we'll tap a new beer, sometimes twice a month, but we'll tap a new beer. And our building is big enough that we literally invite a food truck to drive into the warehouse. And the food truck will drive into a portion of the warehouse. They open up and they sell food, and we sell pints.
I like that.
At the same point in time, we'll do a beer. So basically once a month, we throw a big party, and we bring out several hundred people. Will show up. We'll tap a new beer. Dave and I will stand up on a couple of kegs and shout at the crowd and say, "Hey, thanks for coming out. We tapped this new beer." I do a lot of beer dinners. I try to do one beer dinner a month at least, where I partner with a local chef who is well respected, and we can sit down and come up with foods that will pair well with our beers and put together a beer dinner. When I left the brew pub world and started Sun King with Dave, one of the reasons that we wanted to be downtown Indianapolis is that we wanted to have access to the people who came into our place, because one of my favorite things about working in a brew pub as a pub brewer was literally walking through the pubs that I worked. And, you'd see that guy who either just got off work in the afternoon and walked in and sat down, and somebody serves them a beer, and you see that look of frustration on their face, and then they kick back the first taste of beer, and they have that sigh of relief where they're, it really helped make their day. So we wanted to maintain that kind of customer relationship. So we actually could have put Sun King in an industrial park where we would have spent about half as much money as we do in rent.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, it would have been outside of the bounds of where people normally would come. So our tasting room is the place where on Thursday, Friday, Saturday right now, we see about 1,000 people who come through our tasting room, try beers and buy beers to go. And about 20% of our volume goes out of our tasting room. So by doing what we've done where we've done, we've got a great amount of volume of people who come through and they come through and they try our beers and they see people working and you get to chat with people. So we've kind of maintained that type of atmosphere where we're really accessible and we still mix with our customers. I think that's important because otherwise you're just another beer on a shelf.
Right. You got to have the personal touch.
Right.
Especially for us beer geeks.
I like being touched personally.
I like to think I'm charming.
All right, QC Beer Guy comes in with another question. Are you doing, he kind of asked the question like I have some background about it, so I just have to ask the background.
Sure.
Are you doing beers in whiskey and sour barrels?
We are doing beers in whiskey and sour barrels.
Okay, then the question is, what beers are you using in the barrels as far as sour and whiskey, he says?
We're all over the board on that. Being in Indiana, we have a fantastic proximity to Kentucky and Tennessee, so whiskey barrels are a great option for us. We have my lead cellarman right now keeps a log book of all of the different of whiskeys that we have, and we've got Woodford, we've got Buffalo Trace, we've got Pappy Van Winkle, we've got W.H. Harrison, which is an Indiana bourbon, we've got wine barrels from a couple of local wineries, Buck Creek and the Brown County Winery. So we have probably about 110 barrels right now in a 1,000 square foot temperature controlled room that we use for our barrel aging. And at this point in time, we actually have yet to really release any of our bourbon barrel aged beers except for putting them out for beer dinners and beer festivals and other kind of tasting events that we do. And then the beers that we do have that have ran through bourbon barrels, we have kicked over into our newly generated sour program. So,
I like that.
So we have about 16 bourbon barrels that are spent bourbon barrels that we have used in the initial bourbon barrel aging process. And then once the bourbon character is mostly gone, roll those over into sour. And we're really trying to get our legs about us as far as sours go. So all the barrels have a different blend of funky bugs. So we've got Brett, Lacto, and Pedia going in mixtures of all of the above in different barrels.
Nice.
And hopefully, actually by probably late summer, honestly, the way we work, just because how everything goes, hopefully this fall we'll be starting to release a run of bourbon barrel aged beers as well as Belgian style sours.
Okay.
Love it.
Couple quick distribution questions that came through. Let's see. Barley Ever Sober in the chat room wants to know.
I don't get it.
Do you have six-packs in Bloomingdale, Indiana? I have an aunt who's there who's coming to town this week, and I'd love for her to bring me some, he says.
Specifically on the northwestern side of the town? I do not frequent these
I'm going to be as stumped as I would be with any question that you've had this evening. I don't even know where Bloomingdale, Indiana is.
You don't? I like him for that, for some reason. I don't know.
Hold on, let me Google that shit.
Yeah, find out where that shit is. Because this man wants a six-pack. From his aunt Hildegard
we
or something.
actually do 4 packs of 16-ounce beers. Bloomingdale, Indiana, it's somewhere. It's in Indiana.
It's somewhere. Let me write that down.
By the way, I'm liking your pale ale. It's good. It's a nice pale ale. It's mild.
Yeah,
on the English side, I think, of a pale ale, and I'm liking it. It's good.
Yeah, it's in the 5.5 range. It's 5.6. It's 5.6 and 50 IBUs. It's Nugget and Cascade, so it has that spicy citrus Cascade or spicy citrus punch. So
okay,
it's good. hopefully, I like it because I can drink a few of them.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to crack the 4th in my 4-pack tonight during this interview.
Boy. We're going to crack another one, too,
It's got a great Cascade aroma. Wow, really noticeable.
Like it.
Really strong.
We don't sell beer in Bloomingdale.
Okay.
Whoever that person is, we have an iPhone app, so if they go to our website, they can find a link to it, but we have an iPhone app, and it has a full run. There's somewhere over in that area that we do sell beer, but I don't know where it is.
All right, go check out sunKingBrewing.com, and you can find out where to get their iPhone app, and then you can figure out the locator. I have another locator question. Do you know where Evansville is?
I do know where Evansville is.
All right, so here's another listener in the chat room who says, my in-laws live in Evansville. I live in Chicago, and I haven't seen any up here, but I want it. So he's going to have his in-laws bring him some if it's in Evansville. Again, I guess they could go find the app.
In order to get from Evansville to Chicago, if they drive through Indiana, they can stop somewhere where it gets it. But Evansville is a bit of a lonely situated place with no interstate access in the southwest corner of Indiana, and we do not distribute there. So,
do they have internet in Evansville?
They do have internet in Evansville.
That's good.
I think. I've never been there.
One person has it.
Yeah, there's a
Isn't
guy.
the internet everywhere.
Yeah. There's a Richer somewhere.
There's a guy who has it, but you need a password,
right,
to use it.
You need to pay him a bushel of corn.
Okay. And then there were a couple other questions, but we're running out of time. I can't skip this.
All right, to the last guy's point, there is a liquor store in South Bend that actually just drove down from South Bend to Indianapolis to pick up 65 cases of Sun King to sell at his liquor store.
Oh, nice. There we go. Okay.
So go to South Bend if you're in Chicago.
South Bend, well done, sir. Okay, and finally, I can't skip this last question. Spider Wrangler in our chat room says that you have a bacon-infused beer.
We actually do have a bacon-infused beer. Every year when we do our Doppelbock, which was our 2010 GABF and World Beer Cup bronze medal winner, we bacon-infuse it. So we call it, our Doppelbock is called the Dominator, and for our bacon-infused version, we do the Baconator.
Yeah, the Dominator just beat you Germans in Doppelbock category.
Now you know why we picked that name. Because it totally dominates you Americans.
I love it. Yeah, now you will try the Baconator. How do you infuse it? How does the bacon go into the beer?
Squeal, little piggy, while I dominate you.
We have a run of bung-sided Sankey kegs. So we actually have a local charcuterie place that does all sorts of different bacon. They actually have a Bacon of the Month club.
God damn
which the place is called Goose the Market, and Goose the Market does a Bacon of the Month club. And Chris from Goose the Market went to college, culinary school, and his degree is in charcuterie. So he does meat like nobody does meat.
I love it.
Yeah,
I don't know him, but I love him.
So,
but did he mine it in
taxidermy? We've taken local bacon, and then we will grill it in order to get most of the fat off, to render most of the fat off, and then we basically put it in a cheesecloth in a bung-sided keg and let it rest in lager for a few weeks, and the smoky, meaty deliciousness of bacon infuses itself with Doppelbock.
Well done. Well played.
Yeah, I like this. I want to try this beer.
The vegetarian is clapping.
It's even the vegetarian. Even the meat-tarded person in the room is clapping.
Did you say meat-tarded?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Bacon is the window for the meat-tarded.
It is, yeah. It's the gateway.
I know what this is. I recognize this.
Yeah,
wouldn't the PC version be meatily handicapped?
I guess so, but I prefer meat-tarded.
Meatily challenged.
Yeah, challenged, exactly. All right, Clay, that about covers the questions from our listeners, and I gotta take care of some sponsors too. But I just wanted to thank you so much for being on the show, and also sending the beer.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
The beer's good stuff, man. I think. I'm torn between the Pale Ale and the Wee Mac. I'm liking both of those quite a bit.
All the way.
I think I'm going Pale Ale as my favorite of the night.
Me too.
That's well made.
I did enjoy the Wee Mac too, but I think Pale Ale, that's what I'm going back for here in the next segment. I'm going for another Pale Ale.
I'm just happy that we didn't get a case IPA.
Right, yeah. Yeah, she did us right by that, I think, Clay. Was not sending IPAs.
I wanted to share a breadth of what we do. When I get a little bit more of some different things, I'll send you guys a fresh pack of beer so you can at least try some other things.
Very cool. Would love to. And thank you for supporting one of our sponsors in White Labs. Kara, thanks you. And Kara, I think you guys should start a program for breweries like Clay's where they use so many multiple different strains because they're willing to experiment with beers. Like, they should be celebrated. There should be like a gold club for breweries like Clay's. Yeah, I'm just putting it out there right now that they should be.
You know what it is? You know what their prize is? They make great beer.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. They make great beer because of it.
Oh, you use 5 strains, you get one free.
See, just talk to Mike White about it for me and tell him that I think that there should be a special recognition for breweries like Sun King who experiment with many different yeasts rather than just having the house yeast.
Yeah.
So this is Mike on the line.
Yeast is a very underrated aspect when it comes to flavors of beer.
You know, you're right, Clay, and
this is what Mike White sounds like, by the way, Clay, if you've never met him.
People impersonating Mike White is probably my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to look into that for you. I'm going to do that.
Thank you, Mike White.
Because, you know, we talked about that over golf.
Right.
I'm only the messenger.
All right, Clay, thank you so much.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
No, I really appreciate it, and thanks for the beer, and I hope to see you again soon, brother.
All right, take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye, buddy.
All right, there you go. It's Clay Robinson from Sun King Brewing Company, and go check them out. You can go to, let me make sure I get this little address right here, sunKingBrewing.com, and look at all their different beers. Not only the house beers, but they do have an enormous list of seasonal beers, like he was saying. That's kind of their whole thing.
What I wanted to do is ask him if he thinks a brewery can be successful without having an IPA as their flagship.
Oh, right.
But I never got the chance. He was so full of information.
Yeah. Apparently, they can.
Apparently so, right?
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm thinking no.
All right, here's what we're going to do. I have to pee really, really bad.
Really.
So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do feedback. Also, at the break, though, we do have this, we have a segment with, who do we have it with?
Feedback?
It's with Scott Metzger from Freetail Brewing.
Yeah.
His response letter to some lawyers that threatened him went viral. So I talked to him about that. Per many people's insistence.
So he had another brewer basically give him a cease and desist.
That's right.
And he essentially sent a letter that said, look, you could have just made a phone call.
Correct.
Okay. But the letter went viral because people loved it?
Exactly.
See, I like it when that happens. When people are like, yeah, that guy's right. You don't always have to follow like the rules. You could just be a person.
Pick up a phone, man.
You could be a human being.
Yeah. I think you're right. I should read the letter, but now I know you have to pee. So
I got to pee really bad. Do you have like a couple statements from the letter?
You know, I tried to do that. It's not really going to work.
All right, so we're just going to go for it.
I have to pee too. Can we go at the same time? Can we share water?
No. We're not going to share water.
You guys don't cross streams?
It's all at the break with Scott Metzger. Moscow interviewed him for us, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Have you ever dreamed about attending the World Brewing Academy? This year, thanks to Lallemand and Danstar, one lucky brewer will make that dream a reality for free. Lallemand and Danstar invite you to enter the Beer School 2012 contest. One lucky grand prize winner will receive fully paid tuition in the 2012 World Brewing Academy web-based concise course in brewing technology worth more than $3,000. From now until April 12, 2012, every Danstar yeast package you use is your ticket to enter. Visit danstaryeast.com for the details and to print your official entry form. There's no limit on the number of times you can enter, so get brewing with Danstar and get your entries in to the Danstar 2012 Beer School Contest. Whether you want to build your home brewing skills or build a career as a professional brewer, this course will change the way you think of beer and brewing. Enter at danstaryeast.com and get the dry yeast advantage with Danstar and Lallemand Premium Brewing Yeast, and enter to win. By popular vote from the Northwest Brewing News, HopTech has been voted the best homebrew shop in Northern California. Serving homebrewers for nearly 30 years in Dublin, California, HopTech carries more than 40 different kinds of hops and more than 60 different grains. Malt extract, spices and sugars, hop oils and extracts. Open every day except Wednesday or shop online anytime at hoptech.com or call 1-800-DRY-HOPS, 1-800-379-4677. With in-store classes almost every Saturday, huge selection, and a dedicated commitment to their customers, HopTech is one of the longest-running and passionate homebrew stores, period. And now, by popular vote, the best homebrew shop in Northern California. And don't forget their 15% military discount. HopTech. Visit today at hoptech.com.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit!
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Mix me your 100-grain amber recipe, and I'm going to eat it. And then it can ferment in my gut. It totally works. The beer is almost identical to the grain sandwich.
Your colon won't know what hit it.
The home of live beer radio.
TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer,
radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The
Session.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Brewing Network's Press Play. This week, I sat down with Scott Metzger. If you're from San Antonio, Texas, you'll know Scott as the owner of Freetail Brewing Company. If you're not, you'll probably know him from the sarcastic response letter he sent the attorneys representing Steelhead Brewing. Went viral on the interwebs a few weeks ago. Apparently, Steelhead took exception to Freetail's use of the term Hoposaurus rex. More hop puns. And instead of exercising some diplomacy and picking up the goddamn telephone to voice their concerns, they commissioned an attorney to issue a cease and desist order. Scott understandably took exception to this approach and fired off a snarky response. If you haven't read it yet, do yourself a favor, spend 10 seconds Googling it, and you'll find it. So I figured I'd get Scott on the line to get the details of this latest unfortunate episode of The Jersey Shore. I mean, the goings-on in craft beer. Whatever.
Start off by telling us what happened.
The attorneys from the other brewery sent a cease and desist letter in regards to, I guess they saw on our website or maybe on Beer Advocate or something, the use of Hoposaurus rex, which we used that name to refer to somebody else we were ripping off, which was Sam Calagione and Dogfish Head and the Randall.
Yeah.
So we totally ripped off that idea. And basically, Hoposaurus rex is just what we called a little corny keg full of hops that we would put in line from the serving tank to the tap tower And so when we do that, we'd say we Hoposaurus Rex to beer, and the keg itself was the Hoposaurus Rex, chewing up beer and spitting out this other, freshly hopped, deliciousness. So we use that from time to time, but not very often because it's not really an efficient use of hops. So we didn't like to do it too much. We joked around a few times, like we wanted to do the Pumpkinsaurus Rex for our pumpkin beer and have a keg full of, pumpkin chunks on the way. So, we do just random little things like that, but not very often.
So where was the actual words? Like just at the bar, like try this Hoposaurus Rex beer? It wasn't on any labels, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, it was on our website. We have a little page on the website that just kind of describes the process. And then I think, when we would have a beer that went through the process, we would say it was, Hoposaurus Rex. So somebody probably went on to Beer Advocate and thought that was the name of the beer, wrote a review. And that's probably what caught their attention. Or maybe they just did kind of a blanket search for Hoposaurus Rex. But ironically, a few months ago, I got an email from just a random person in Portland who was like, hey, I had your Hoposaurus Rex beer the other day and I loved it. And I was like, man, I have no idea what this guy's talking about because we hadn't done it in a while and our beer is certainly not available in Portland. And then he mentioned some beer festival in Portland, and as it turned out, he was talking about Steelhead's Hoposaurus Rex, not ours. So I don't know, what transpired to get Steelhead's attorneys interested in the Hoposaurus Rex, but they sent a cease and desist letter, and I'm a giant child, and I act like a child a lot, and I respond to people sometimes in very immature ways, and this was a case where I thought it'd be funnier to respond like that than to act like an adult, so that's what I did.
That kind of response was refreshing. I mean, that's why it kind of went viral, and people love that sort of stuff because people don't like attorneys.
Yeah, well, and especially when there are ways to do things without attorneys that, getting an attorney involved really does nothing other than finance the attorney's lifestyle. And, I'm all for everyone doing whatever they want to make a living, but, come on. Some things just get a little out of hand. Just people lawyering up all the time is ridiculous. And just for context, I had earlier in the year just gone through a couple of other cease and desist related things. So we issued a cease and desist for a brewery that hadn't even opened yet, but they were planning on calling a beer a name very close to ours, and I contacted them several times about stopping, and they were just like, no, we think we're going to go ahead and use it. So I ended up having to pay a lawyer quite a bit of money to go this back and forth with their lawyer, and it was money that just could have been saved by just saying, hey, look, you're using the exact same name, almost the exact same name as the beer that is our most well-known beer, and it's not called IPA or something generic. It was for a beer that, is kind of has a unique name and is what we're most well known for. So for another brewery to challenge us back on it, then, I felt like, man, I really don't want to spend money on an attorney because that's money that could go to something a lot more useful, like more hops to waste in a keg online to the tower or something. Hoposaurus Rex.
Sure.
But instead I got wasted on an attorney. And then a few months after that, I got a cease and desist from some other brewery that, to my knowledge, has still never made any beer about some name they had trademarked over a beer we'd used once. And I just told them, like, okay, cool, whatever. We made it once. We never planned on making it again, so you win. You can have the name.
So it sounds like the only reason that you needed to take the course that you did was because it was your flagship brand, right? So if it was a beer other than your flagship, do you think you would have even made an issue out of it at all?
No, because, there's a lot of beer names that I think are coincidentally, shared amongst a lot of breweries, especially as we have, 2,000 breweries operating in the U.S. now and a finite number of lame hop puns that can be used. There's bound to be some overlap. But, in the case where we have maybe a small pub in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and one in Providence, Rhode Island, who are only in their respective areas, does it matter if they share the name? Is anyone going to get confused by, if they happen to travel to both places and think, like, oh, wow, I didn't know this brewery from Providence was in Green Bay?
That might have been one of my favorite parts of your letter was when you were like, yeah, I've been pretty drunk in my life, but I don't know if I've ever been so drunk as to confuse Portland with Poughkeepsie, New York.
Yeah, I mean, and no one will ever confuse Portland with San Antonio because in San Antonio we're way proud of being lame and not weird, so there's no confusion to be made between the two cities.
The part where you were diplomatic and you asked that brewery several times, you came to them and just said, hey, man to man, we're both brewery guys and this is our flagship brand and what do you think about? And the part where they told you to piss off, like if your neighbors are having a loud party, you didn't just call the cops. You went over and knocked on the neighbor's door. Hey, man, I'm trying to sleep here. It's 1 a.m. Keep it down. And then the music continues. And you went and knocked on the door 2 more times, and then you had to call the cops because they wouldn't turn the goddamn music down.
Yeah, that's one of those situations, and I don't know, I can kind of get on the soapbox, and we could talk about how, the fabric of society is starting to crumble upon, people's disrespect for one another, but I think that's a little melodramatic, and it's just one of those things where, man, I think a lot of problems could be solved, especially business-to-business problems, if people just used a little, dignity, common sense, and respect towards one another.
Absolutely.
And then how much money could the industry save in lawyers' fees and all this kind of stuff if we just did that? And just goodwill towards one another.
I went from hearing nothing about any sort of lawsuits to I feel like the Moylans and Lost Abbey was the spark that lit the fire, and then now I feel like I've heard 10 things in the last year. So do you think that's going to get worse, or do you think that as more and more breweries pop up and more competing for market share that we're just going to have to get along?
Well, I think it is going to get worse just because I think a lot of the new entrants into the game, just the sheer number of entrants, and then a lot of the new entrants aren't, part of the old school fraternity, and they don't really care about fraternal way things were done in the past because it's really not their concern. And I think that's, a fair approach on their part because, they're just trying to make a livelihood and make their brewery work, and they're doing what's best for them. But it's sad to see, and I don't necessarily fault, even I don't fault anybody for trying to protect their mark because you have to. I just think there's a better way to do it.
Did you ever hear back from them after you sent them that letter?
Not directly, although, interestingly enough, a friend of mine, I guess, is friends with the brewers at Steelhead. So they sent my friend a Hoposaurus Rex t-shirt to deliver to me, and I proudly wore it just the other day. So, and the brewers there at Steelhead apparently were completely unaware that this was even happening, and they had a good sense of humor about it, which I'm happy, because I definitely didn't want to see, when I did what I did, I tried to redact things as much as possible, because I didn't want to point out any of the brewery and make them into bad guys. I was just having a little fun, and unfortunately I saw a lot of negative heat put onto Titletown Brewing in Wisconsin because they also had a beer called Hoposaurus Rex. And I talked to those guys, and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry if people are thinking it's you and blah, blah, because that wasn't my intent whatsoever. And getting heat on anyone wasn't my intent whatsoever. I was just having a little fun and trying to point out that there's better ways for us to go about doing things.
Not only are there better ways to go about doing things, I think there's better dinosaurs that can be used with hop puns other than Tyrannosaurus Rex. Why all the focus on Tyrannosaurus Rex? Why not Vahopsiraptor?
Well, interestingly enough, we just brewed Velociraptor 2 days ago.
Well, you'll expect a cease and desist letter from the Brewing Network because I'm pretty sure I just coined that phrase.
Okay, well, I Googled it, and I didn't see anything, and to kind of make things go full circle, we're doing a single hop IPA using a blend that Hop Union developed called Falconer's Flight, and it's in memory of Glenn Falconer, who was a Northwest brewing legend, and he passed away, and there's a foundation in his behalf that raises money for brewing education. So this hop really honors him. So we were doing a beer, an IPA single hopped with that hop, and we were trying to think of a name, and falcons are raptors, but then coincidentally, I was reading about Mr. Falconer's background, and his first job ever in the brewing industry was at Steelhead Brewing in Eugene, Oregon. So I thought it was like a fitting name. So we just brewed that 2 days ago, and that'll be out in a few weeks.
Very nice. That's a power name, Glenn Falconer.
Yeah, for sure. You're destined for greatness with that name.
Did I miss anything? Any other interesting tidbits from this story that I didn't address?
What I thought was interesting about it is as it started to make its way around the internet, it popped up in places like Reddit and Bark. I was really taken aback. Like, there's some people who really don't have senses of humor out in the world. They were really trying to dig into my legal argument, and I'm like, man, you guys are missing the point. Have a little fun. Hopefully, everyone, not just brewers and their lawyers, but I hope everyone, if they encounter my letter, just use it as an example to lighten up and have fun with the everyday, ins and outs in life. Because if we don't, what's the point of being here? So hopefully everyone will start having a little more fun.
Perfect. Good note to go out on. Tell people where they can find out about Freetail Beer and give your plugs.
Okay. Well, freetailbrewing.com, our website right now, if you go to it, you'll quickly notice it's really old and crappy, but we have a new one coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. You can follow us on Twitter at Freetail Brewing. You can follow me on Twitter at Beer Monkey. And if you're ever in the San Antonio area, drop by our pub, because that's the only place you can buy our beer. Or you can always say hi and see us at GABF.
Alrighty, that's it for this week. This has been Press Play, and until next time, this is Scott the Jew saying L'chaim.
888-401 beer.
This is the session.
Hi, I'm Scott Moskowitz. You don't want to find me in a dark alley. Here's an interview.
And after this, I'll give you details on my daycare center. Trust me.
Hi, I'm Scott Moskowitz. Make sure I don't touch you. Here's another great interview.
Wait, why is this related to molestation?
You just sound creepy sometimes. You got to listen to yourself in the interview, where I love you in interviews. You're a great, normal speaking guy. Mm-hmm. But you do the turn the microphone on thing, where it goes, hello, this is Scott the Jew, and welcome to another thing where it sounds like I'll be raping your wife.
No, you're full of crap. No, that used to be, but now the intro's all natural. Very natural. Mm-hmm. Very, yeah.
Natural?
Yeah.
For a Kenyan man trying to get his citizenship? What are you talking about?
By the way, I do want to thank Scott Metzger. Great story. And it sounds like everything is played out like just in a good sense of humor kind of way, too. But good for him for making it that way. Just, make it be less fucking
lawyery and shit.
Yeah.
Get ready for All Natural. Here it comes.
1967 is fast approaching.
Welcome to another edition of the Brewing Network's Press Play. This week, I sat down with Scott Metzger.
I don't want to alert the.
Where's the Amber Alert number?
You cut it off right when it got natural.
I don't want to alert the authorities that I'm in this room, nor do I want to wake up my captives. But I do have to earn a living.
Does your parole officer know where you are right now?
That's what I was saying. It sounds like it starts out like. Mom, shut up! I'm about to record this.
This is Scott Moskowitz.
Hello, this is Scott Moskowitz.
But it's like way more under the breath.
If you didn't recognize that news intro from the 70s, it's my news intro.
You know what it is? It's that I always do these things like the morning after some sour beer festival, and then my vocal cords are all relaxed.
Oh, well, it's a good thing you're a fucking professional.
Like they got
maybe wait a day next time.
Full story at 11.
You know what? It sounds like it sounds like a news like a news intro that a sitcom would use. You know,
San Antonio, Texas.
It's purposely like that.
It's like
tongue in cheek.
It's right out of Anchorman.
Yes, that's what I was going for.
Stay classy, Pacheco.
That's right.
Hey, let's let him. I got to get to the first two
milk
words.
Was a bad
I'm a
choice.
Jew. I'm an anchor Jew.
Hang on. Here it comes. Let him talk.
Hello, and welcome to another another edition of the Brewing Network's Press Play.
Hello. That's meant to be lame.
Scott Metzger.
It's really what it is.
San Antonio, Texas. You'll know Scott as the owner of Freetail Brewing Company. If you're not, you'll probably know him from the sarcastic response letter he sent the attorneys representing Steelhead Brewing.
What do you want, a Russian sub?
It really sounds...
It does sound like radar.
It really sounds more like, hello, this is Scott Moskowitz. I'm calling Ben3859 in response to your missing in the personal ad section. I do like walks on the beach, and I will tell you more about it after this irritating interview.
Snarky response.
Hello, this is Scott Moskowitz. I'm on the hunt for Red October.
You can help me by going to...
Unfortunate episode of the Jersey Shore. I mean,
Jersey
goings
Shore.
on in craft beer.
Start off by telling us what happened.
All right. Anyway, you
focus on the content, okay?
Content's good. We got to redo your intros and shit.
Isn't the intro part of the content?
Why don't you, someone make me an intro then? Don't we have a guy that does that?
We do.
Maybe just fly the intros by everybody else first.
So they can just say no. They'll never have a suggestion with what to do otherwise. They'll just say no.
I'm really good at making intros. I can make you an intro.
No.
Well, we'll see.
No.
You've heard my intro. You've heard the intro.
That was
I made.
one out of a lot of bad intros.
It was real good. It's real good.
No, we need to send your intro to production.
Okay, I got one thing to say.
Uh-oh.
Thanks, Moscow.
Thanks. All right, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah? For what specifically, Doc? What was that?
Don't ask questions.
What was that segment about?
Everything he does.
What was the interview about?
Does not matter.
Does not matter.
Moscow.
Does not matter.
Thank you for everything you do.
There you go.
There we go.
It's a verbal tip.
All right. Speaking of verbal tips.
Fellas, if you're looking to spice things up in the bedroom or been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie, here's an offer you can't resist. Just go to adamandeve.com and you can get 50% off just about any item. And when you do that, you'll also get 3 free adult DVDs. Carrot, you ready to write down this coupon code? 3 free adult DVDs.
Right now,
DVDs,
bitch.
Plus a free extra gift so sensual we can't mention it on internet radio. Go to adamandeve.com and use coupon code BNARMY. And on top of all those
Listen
other
to
things,
what you get for this.
You'll also get free shipping. So here's what you get. You go to adamandeve.com, you type in coupon code BNARMY, you can get 50% off a dildo or anything else.
Number one.
Any size, any diameters. It's great.
When you do it, or a butt plug or whatever, a cock ring, I don't care what you do. We get 50% off it. Then you're going to get 3 free DVDs on top of it, plus a free gift we can't talk about, and free shipping, all for using coupon code BNARMY. So go to adamandeve.com, check it out. Also, you can go to their mobile site, m.adamandeve.com, if you just can't wait until you get home.
I can't wait.
Do it now.
Check it out, Doc. Go to it right now.
Now.
That's the last thing he needs his wife to find on his phone. What are you going to Adam and Eve for? Trying to buy you a dildo, baby.
Don't even worry about it.
Don't even worry.
Hopefully she finds it at home before she finds it on my phone.
All right.
Either way, you're fucked.
Air day. All right, adamandeve.com, coupon code BNARMY. Check it out.
Cha.
All right, well done on the interview with Scott Metzger. Thanks to Scott Metzger. Thanks to Clay Robinson from Sun King Brewing Company for being with us today. And check them out in all over Indiana, actually. They're brewing a lot of beer that they only sell in one state, so it must be all over that place. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Picking up what I'm putting down?
No.
All right, you ready for feedback?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
All right, we can do feedback.
Always feedback.
I think we
baby.
can do feedback. Let's see.
Oh my God!
You've got mail.
Kick ass.
Oh, who did that intro, man? That sucks balls, man.
I actually really like it. It's very classic and playful.
Yeah, the Derelict Hollow Boys.
I wouldn't be afraid for the voice behind that intro to play with my kids in a park.
Oh, yeah.
This is Scott Moskowitz for the Moskowitz Babysitting Agency.
I'm starting a babysitting club.
You can trust your kids.
It's
with
called
Scott.
the Babysitters Club.
That's your T-shirt slogan.
That's right.
Trust your kids with Scott.
Come to Moskowitz Day Camp where we learn taxidermy. and cybercrime detection.
And the song,
and Morse code.
And the song's called Baby Lick Hollow.
How to wipe your hard drive in 5 seconds.
How to use a periscope in a submarine.
Oh, shit. All
I
right.
don't have to. I have to pee, though.
Baby Wipes 101.
Ben Foot / Triple Chicken Foot writes in, hey, BNers, been listening to the show over 3 years, and my brewing has improved ever since the first show I heard. Great show, blah, 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 blah. Then he sent some music that I didn't get. And then he said...
I sent it to you specifically for that.
I know, I wrote back to you there was no attachment at all.
I didn't get that one.
Yeah.
And he still didn't understand.
Months ago, I brewed... Here's a question for, I think, probably Tasty and Doc. Maybe Kara, if she's in on the yeast situation. Months ago, I brewed Jamil's Kolsch using German Kolsch yeast from White Labs, if you've heard of them.
Whoop, whoop.
Wait.
No, I'm not racist.
Again?
Sorry.
Yeah, for a German Kolsch from White Labs. It finished correct and clean. I brewed a pale ale and used the yeast from the Kolsch to ferment that after the Kolsch. Right. The pale ale was great. Lots of hops and malt flavor. Good beer.
Awesome. You're welcome.
All right, this January, I set up to do the same thing. Except this time, the beer I brewed first was a 50% pale and 50% wheat malt beer using White Labs German Kolsch yeast. The 50% beer was fine and finished clean. Then I brewed that same pale ale that I liked so much as the first time by using the yeast again. But this time, my pale ale lost most of the hop character and has this off mouthfeel. So his question is, does yeast change after it has fermented wheat and thus affected the flavor of my pale ale? Because the first time it seemed to work perfectly, and the second time it didn't. Is it because of the wheat, or did something else go wrong?
No, he just sucks as a brewer.
Something, you do that close to your face.
He just sucks as a brewer.
Something else went wrong.
Sound like me.
I don't have enough parameters to go on this whole kind of thing. No, the wheat shouldn't have anything to do with it. The yeast, if it's a clean yeast, it should ferment clean and just be bigger.
Okay.
Most of the time, you should worry about tiring out your yeast. If you're gonna make them do a big Belgian thing and then do a pale after that, something like that.
But going Kolsch to a pale ale, it doesn't have anything to do with the wheat.
No, it shouldn't have anything to do with that. I would look more into his water. If he's using city water is going to change from spring to fall, that kind of thing.
That's a good call. Yeah, that could have changed it.
I would really push that one more than just the yeast issue.
Tasty?
Well, yeah. To me, like sugar. So I don't think the yeast are really going to put out anything different or carry anything over from the wheat malt versus the pale malt. So.
Okay.
There's something else going on there.
Yeah, and he's talking about it being more of a the hoppy thing, kind of, and that has to do more with what's going to push forward, and that goes back with the sulfates in the water.
Okay, all right, good answer, JP.
I don't have an answer, but I expected you to not ask me, and then I was going to go, why didn't you ask me? And then you would go, okay, what's your advice? And then I would go, I don't know, I just want to know. So, no, but 50% wheat, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It's a lot of wheat, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's way too much.
That's a wheat beer.
And it sounds gross.
Although it is a wheat, by the way, that's a wheat beer.
Right.
I don't.
It sounds real gross.
But I don't think that didn't tax the yeast any. It didn't push the yeast at all.
No.
Right.
No, you're not going to change the molecular structure or the biological thing of the yeast. It's still
I like
yeast.
yeast. I ain't going back, honey.
Right.
Right.
What Doc said, but, with more teeth.
All right. Yeah. Let's see. That was from Triple Chicken Foot. So there you go. Thanks for writing in. All right, Rob writes in, hey, Justin, I thought Alan was a great guest on your program, both knowledgeable and entertaining.
Val's the man.
The zone you all got into was great and exactly why I follow the podcast. Keep up the great work. Planning on becoming a donor.
Maybe he meant donaire.
I think he meant organ donor for JP's failing heart.
Oh, it is. Now it hurts.
It's just because I mentioned it.
Yeah, why do you say that to me?
It failed a long time ago.
Why did you do that?
Why? You hurt me.
I don't see why you had to say that about my heart.
You should do Moscow's intro.
And now, Scott Moskowitz with another interview.
Brought to you by Pampers.
And nicotine. In that order.
And ankle bracelets.
Yes.
Monitor bracelets.
All right, Rob writes in, he's got a question for Tasty.
And parole.
I recently went back and listened to the Cantillon show and heard Tasty say that he stopped using hop sacks.
Oh, shit!
I started using mine because of Tasty on the Can You Brew It episode.
What a hypocrite.
Can we cut that out? We can edit that out.
Yeah, that'll be edited out. Don't worry about it.
This is Scott Moskowitz, and I just put my finger in your girlfriend's ass in a crowded subway.
And by girlfriend, I mean child.
I don't think that could be hopped out.
So he says, I started using my sacks because of Tasty and the Can You Brew It episodes. So now I'm wondering why he's moved away from using them. Did you switch to flowers instead of pellets? Or why did you encourage us on the sacks, Tasty, and then take them away?
Well, the sacks were, I think, a carryover from my previous, bias towards using sacks.
Brewing life, yeah.
Yes, my older brewing days.
Mm-hmm.
That was before you had your own merchandise.
I talked about sacks on the show in the context of being able to have the option of pulling out your 60-minute hops if you want to do an extended boil.
Yeah.
Say your gravity's too low and you just want to boil longer, but you don't want to add any bitterness. You could pull out the 60-minute hop before you do your late additions.
I still like this idea.
It's still a valuable thing to do if you're having a problem. Say hitting those gravities, maybe hitting your gravity.
I don't got a problem hitting that shit.
You may want to do that, but once you don't have to worry about that. I find pellet hops loose to be more like what the pros are doing, and that just seems to me like a better model to go after.
Okay,
and then
they're just in solution and being
right.
And they're also it's turbid. Then they're really being thrown around and
yeah, they're moving around. And I've gone to I get a better whirlpool than I used to get too, so I don't. The sacks were getting in the way. I mean, you think about the sacks are floating around kind of imbalanced way, but the loose hops, kind of spin, create a real uniform sort of cloud of hop.
Right.
Then as the whirlpool settles down, they all go into the middle really nice. So
okay,
that's one of the reasons I just did it that way.
Well, I forgive you, but I don't know that Rob's going to.
Sounds like he's pretty butthurt about it.
I still use socks.
Oh, see, Doc still use sacks.
He's a sacker.
He said sock.
He's a sacker.
He said sock.
The amount of crap I pull out when I pull out a sock at the end of the brew day.
Do you actually use socks for your sacks?
They look like socks.
Okay, but it's a sack.
Yes, it is.
It's a mesh. I meant that honestly because
it's a hop.
Why not use socks as a hop sack? I mean,
and
I guess they're more expensive.
Use pantyhose. What Tasty said, you can pull it back out when you want, and the amount of vegetable stuff that I just pull out at the end that doesn't go either through my fermenter or into the fermenter or into anything else.
Yeah. Just like being able to pull it out of solution.
Yeah.
I got it. All right. Feedback brought to you today by HopTech Homebrew Supply. You can go to hoptech.com and check them out. And we love HopTech Homebrew Supply. Jade and Roberto are very nice people down there. If you ever want to go do some homebrew shopping, maybe even try a little homebrew, Roberto's a nice brewer and a good brewer. And go check them out. HopTech Homebrew Supply, longtime supporter of the Brewing Network now. And we like them. They go to all our events and just cool people.
Oh, yeah.
They give us good homebrew.
You'll always know who they are.
Yeah.
They're very homebrew people.
They have that sweet hop grenade tap handle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's true. All right, Drunk of the Week. Do you think we're going to get any calls on a Monday night Drunk of the Week?
I doubt it.
888-401-BEER, 888-401-BEER. Remember, I started a new rule for Drunk of the Week last week. It has to be a unanimous decision.
That's right.
So we have to state our case for Drunk of the Week. While we're waiting for our Drunk of the Week calls, 888-401-BEER. Call in, Drunk of the Week. Susie will take your questions. Let's talk to Kara a little bit from White Labs. Now, we've talked to a lot of the White Labs folks, but Kara is in this week. Kara, what do you do for White Labs?
I am the analytical laboratory specialist.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's a nice title.
I know, right? Thank you.
Yeah, what does that do?
The hell does that mean?
I do all the beer analysis. So we have at our new location an analytical lab, and I do all the beer analysis. So people send in their beers. They want to know what's wrong with them. They want to know how much alcohol is in them, calcium, bacteria.
Do you have a Do you have a gas chromatograph?
I do have a gas chromatograph.
I'm so in love with you.
That's how Doc gets a boner. A gas chromatograph.
Oh, I do. I so do.
Do you know how to use your gas chromatograph?
Oh, yeah.
You should have a bumper sticker that says, lab girls do it while gassy or some stupid thing.
Kara,
I don't think that's going to work for me.
Do Doc a favor and give me like the first couple steps of like setting up the gas chromatograph. Like, how do you put a beer into this? I don't even know what this thing is.
I put 10 mils into a vial, and it goes into the headspace unit. It gets real hot.
Yeah.
And all of the compounds
You've
turn
done this
into
before.
volatiles.
They volatilize.
Yeah. No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
A needle punctures the vial.
Yeah.
And those volatiles will go into a column and then separates by peaks. And you look at the area of the peaks, how much is in the columns. I do this for...
No, they get shot out of the column.
Right.
Yes, they do. They get shot out of the column
There
of the
you go.
detector. And I can do this for diacetyl. Very popular.
Okay.
Detector.
Or I can do
Don't even
esters
know
and
her.
fusyls.
Now, in all seriousness, when you say you can do this for a diacetyl, it gives you like how many parts per million of
Per
that?
billion.
Per
So
billion.
diacetyl, you're looking at tiny amount.
I count hella tiny.
She knows you so clean.
What is a? I guess it obviously depends on the beer style, but for a style that really doesn't want the flavor of diacetyl, what would be a number range that is a good number?
On average, if you were to look at that, you would want it to be under 100 parts per billion.
Wow, that sounds like a tiny
It's
amount.
a very tiny amount, and
I'm sure I've never made a beer that would have met that amount.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. I think we see a good amount. We see a good amount under 100.
Okay, what's another compound that you?
DMS.
Yes, DMS. You've got it. I can't do that at work right now, but it because the threshold is so low. So a lot of these thresholds, the flavor threshold is so low that it's really hard to detect.
Okay.
So,
SMM. Can you do that one? The precursor.
The precursor. No, it's the same thing. You have to have a sulfur detector. I don't have a sulfur detector.
Okay.
What?
But I do have...
I hear White Yeast has one.
Honey.
Oh, what?
I know that's not true. So we also have an Anton Power alkalizer, which
I had this
don't know
first
if anyone
album.
else
It's
is
pretty
getting
good.
boners over. But we can look at alcohol, calories, pH, extract value, so it can calculate your original gravity based on how much alcohol. Density, lots of good values.
Well, can you measure Scott for density?
Right, the core of the
I
sun.
don't think he'll fit in like the 50 mil vial.
He will.
Some of them
Pretty
will.
small.
Well, now here's the good thing about that. Now I know that Doc is saying that you're his new best friend, but the truth is you're kind of everybody's new best friend if they're into this thing, because you guys have a QC day thing at White Labs where any home brewer can participate in this analysis program. Is that right?
Yeah, so typically it's offered mostly for pro brewers, but it's definitely offered for home brewers also. For $139, you get a kit with two bottles for beer. So you can put them in, and then you send it back to us. You get diacetyl, you get alcohol, pH, color, extract values, attenuation values, and micro.
Wow.
Micro in terms of contaminants.
Other things aside than the yeast that you put in there.
Yeah, so looking at wild yeast, anaerobic bacteria, aerobic bacteria. And so it's a pretty good deal. Obviously, $139 for a home brewer can be a little bit on the top. And that's why it's sort of...
Not a problem for Doc.
Yeah,
Well,
okay, yeah.
Kara, you didn't mention IBUs. That's not part of the analysis?
Yes, no, sorry. IBUs is also,
people
which
like
is
that
also, definitely, of course, yeah.
Well, let's face it, that's not for every home brewer, but we know a lot of listeners and home brewers on this station that's what they want. They've been doing this long enough and entering competitions, and it's a hobby that they don't mind spending a little dough on. That's a nice thing to be able to get. You get the full analysis of your beer. And you are in charge of this program, Kara.
I am definitely. So if you are interested, it's on our website, but you can also email me at Kara, Kara, at whitelabs.com.
Okay.
You can email me, and if you want to sign up, the deadline to sign up is on Friday, the February 17th. So
this Friday.
Yes, this Friday.
But does that mean
in the future we're going to have some nice homebrew test kits coming out? So.
Does that mean submissions have to be at your desk by Friday?
No.
You
So
sign
basically,
up
you sign up, and then we send you a kit, and it comes with the shipping return label and everything. So
send you an email before Friday.
Yeah.
And this could happen.
Yes.
Give your email again.
Kara, Kara, at whitelabs.com.
Okay, cool. Yes. I like it. I'm telling you, I know a bunch of beer guys that want this analysis of their beer.
So is a lot of this born from Pro Labs? They want to know if they're consistent.
Yeah, well, so this equipment that you were so excited over is very, very expensive. Most people cannot afford. Most pro brewers can't really afford equipment like this. So it gives them the opportunity to do that. And also, when you enter your beer, you're entering it by style. And so when we give you the results, we're also giving you your results, but also the mean values for the style also. So you get to compare it to hundreds of beer. We get over 600 samples every time we do this. So you get a really big range of data, which is really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I love it. You can send an email over to Kara and get involved in this program. And next year, it sounds like I was talking to some other White Labs folks, too. I can't say their names because I get a lot of top secret information from our sponsors. They all like to give me top secret info, which I love.
Chris or Mike.
Chris is real good at doing
Chris
that.
or Mike.
They give top secret info? Really? To the mouthiest guy in craft beer?
Yes. And it turns out, like Kara is actually saying here, that it'll be kind of a more available program in the coming years.
We've been noticing that homebrewers are looking for this, so we want to make it available, so we're working on something for you guys.
Love it. All right, let's take some Drunk of the Week calls. We'll do more with Kara in just a minute. But first of all, Barley Even Sober is online. Moscow loves the name. I'm sure JP likes it too. Barley Even Sober, what's happening?
It's Barley Ever Sober, dude.
Sorry.
Jesus, get it right.
Ever.
My little munchkins.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Where are you calling from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
North Carolina, huh?
Head of the Lollipop Guild.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
What's up?
And it's a Monday night. I don't know if you knew that, but it's a Monday night. You're calling in for Drunk of the Week.
Maybe your Y chromosome count is up. I don't know.
I know. I'm off tomorrow, so I got the whole day to hang over.
Not a boy.
I like how it's a verb.
Right, I remember you said
it's Tuesday in North Carolina.
I kind of like that too. That's what I did. That's what I did Saturday. I just hanged over all day. Yeah. What have you been drinking, dude?
I started off with Hop Slam and moved on to Sierra Nevada Celebration, and now I'm drinking some New Belgium Diggs Pale Ale.
The Pale Ale. All right. I gotcha. And how long have you been drinking for?
Pretty much since, the start of your show. So I had to wait till the kids went to bed and started drinking then. So.
You got a wife, too, or just kids?
Right. Yeah, I got a wife. She was at class tonight, so I had to wait till she got out of class kind of to really start drinking.
What class would that be?
Upper middle.
She's going to be a nurse and stuff.
I was going to say nursing school.
Is your wife the same person that's the mother of your children?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's quite normal.
You can tell they're not from California.
Or anywhere west of Mississippi.
Right. I'm just checking.
Started listening to you guys in November-ish. I'm up in the archives up till early 2007.
Wait, last November?
I started listening this past November that just passed. So, and I'm up to 2007 now. Started at the beginning and have been working my way through. So
2007 was a good year. It's a good vintage.
Was it?
Things happened there. It's probably maybe not our best season.
No,
but it was
the stuff to things ratio was off, I think.
I think so, too. Yeah. All right, Barley Sober. Well, how would we, if your friends were around you right now...
It's Barley Ever Sober.
How would they know you're drunk?
What would they say?
How would they know? What do you do?
Take your thumb out of me.
When I start drinking, I start Facebook posting, which is no good. And I also have a tendency to stand up and start stumbling around, which I'm doing right now out in my brewery right now. So
don't fall over. I don't want anybody getting hurt for Drunk of the Week.
Can you streak down your neighborhood?
Like
All right. Can you please post on your Facebook right now? I have a man crush on JP from the Brewing Network.
But be sure to tag us on Facebook because we want the publicity.
I'm pretty sure I can do that as soon as I get off my phone.
All right, get off the phone, and you're in the running for Drunk of the Week. But I want you to tag JP as I have a man crush on JP from the Brewing Network.
Okay, I will post. I have a man crush on JP from the Brewing Network as soon as I get off the phone.
All right, you're in the running for Drunk of the Week, my friend. Well done.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Cheers, brother.
And it just left his head.
Yeah.
He has no idea what just happened. I did do the Twitter game, even though we didn't announce it. Do you want to do that? Or
Yeah,
do you
what
want to take
was
more
the Twitter game?
Well, I took a picture of Moscow.
You did?
I took a picture of Moscow, and I tweeted it to Twitter-eatered it, and I wanted compliments.
What, today?
Yeah.
You wanted compliments.
I said, compliment this man.
What does this mean to you?
So I'm getting compliments for Moscow. And we can vote on them if you'd like, or we can wait a little bit and do some Drunk of the Week. It's really up to you. It's your show.
Are the compliments based on the photograph?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh. They're based on the photograph.
Okay. So I need to see the photograph.
Oh, would you like to? Here.
I need to see the photograph to be able to vote on the compliments.
Okay. You're right. You're right.
Same with our listeners at home. They need to go to our Twitter feed, which is twitter.com/Brewing Network, and look at the photo so that you know what people are commenting
You
on.
can just look all jacked up.
And they had to be, you've been a lot about the positivity lately, JP, with compliments and things.
I look horrible.
Oh, no, that's the wrong picture. That's me laying in bed with my cat. I'm sorry.
You should have posted that because I have a few comments.
Oh, I have a few comments about that, yeah.
While we're waiting to get the comments on this, I have okay, I see. Well, it just looks like...
It's just Moscow, what he's wearing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moscow.
A listener sent in a new intro already to the newsfeed.
Already?
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Would you like to hear it?
Do that while I text on my phone.
Here we go.
I'm going to read.
Scott the Jew, with you now to read you a interview he has done because he's Jewish and he's L'chaim. Once again, Scott the Jew with news.
That's from the same era as the original.
It actually is a little better.
I think maybe next time this is your new...
Already it's better.
With you now to read you a interview he has done because he's Jewish and he's L'chaim. Once again, Scott the Jew with news.
I like it. All right, let's go to our...
On the Wurlitzer.
It's like closing credits to Boogie Nights.
It's like, all right, let's go to Ellis in Texas for Drunk of the Week. Ellis, what's happening?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, brother?
Not much, man.
Oh, all right.
How's things in Texas?
They're good. Kind of cold, but not as cold as some of the other guys would probably feel like it is, I guess.
What part of Texas are you in? The racist part or the other part?
The Texas-y
Well, is there another part?
You are from Texas.
That's a fair.
Be honest, right?
It's a fair question, Ellis.
Well, there's small pockets, I think.
Right.
Yeah, well, you're right. I'm just, I don't know, north of Houston,
a little less
100 miles
racist.
or so.
Okay, just out of Houston.
Exactly
gotcha.
where?
How long you been homebrewing?
A little over a year now.
Okay.
Are you still racist?
No, Ellis, I can tell.
I'm recovering.
He's recovering.
I'm recovering.
All right.
Do you have a Confederate flag tattoo anywhere?
No, actually, I don't. I have not reached that point in my life. I have not matured to that point, I suppose.
Right.
He's not ready for it yet.
It's possible.
It's too bad that the Confederate flag is such a shitty symbol of our history because it's kind of a rad flag.
I really like it.
Design-wise, it's a nice flag. However, it's kind of fucked up.
You know, it's like that Nazi uniform. Aesthetically, they're very pleasing.
You make a good point, Moscow. They're,
Well, I have of course, I have a Confederate uniform and a Nazi uniform in my closet.
Right. Because they look good on a dude. You know? They're very dapper.
It looks more professional than someone in a Nazi or Confederate uniform. Really.
You ever combine them, like wear the Confederate jacket with the Nazi helmet?
You can't.
Not after Labor Day.
Yeah.
They were not designed haphazardly. There was a reason there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a swastika and a job interview. There's not a better combination. Really.
That's how you get work in Texas.
Alice, what do you do for a living, Alice?
Well, I work for a university. I'm kind of one of the grunt.
What are you laughing at, Doc? There's universities in Texas, you asshole.
Yeah, but he's still working for them.
I did go to an interview the other day, and I'm a brand new employee of the United States Postal Service. I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Oh, that's a sinking ship, though. Be careful with that.
Employment is employment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take what you can get, man.
Yeah, right.
All right, you been drinking tonight?
Yeah, just a little.
A little bit. What have you had?
Well, I've got a pale ale, like 5.5% or something. I've had a few of those. A couple Imperial Browns. I've got an 8.4% Imperial Brown. I had one earlier, and a 7.3%er. Brooklyn Brewery. What is it? Black chocolate stout.
That's racist.
I had one of those to help get the help get the evening going.
That's good beer. Help get the morning going. That was a little slip there. He's like, well, listen, I said I just applied for the job. I didn't get it yet. That's how I got the morning going.
I'm waiting on hearing back.
They didn't prove that I wanted this job.
Yeah.
Right. You married, Ellis?
So, yeah.
Is your
Yes, I am.
wife? Is your wife drunk or she's
Well,
asleep?
someone just fucking sobered up.
No, I could prove I'm married. The fact that I'm standing outside right now and it's about 40 degrees.
Right. Yeah. Good for you.
So, wife and 2 kids are in bed inside. And I'd be smart not to disrupt that.
All right, that's true. That would be smart. All right, Ellis, you're in the running for Drunk of the Week, man.
Thanks, dudes.
Cheers, brother. Thanks for the phone call. Later.
All right, let's.
All right. And Fierce Beard is on line 1. Now, didn't Fierce Beard write our Drunk of the Week song?
Yes, he did.
Fierce Beard, what's happening, man?
Hey, not a whole lot. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, I'm all fucked up.
Yeah.
You don't sound... Oh my God.
Fierce Beard is always, I think, stoned of the week when he calls in.
It's very slurry.
You know, the first time I called in, you guys were like, I think you got messed, and I'm not. I'm mad.
Turn off your computer, Fierce Beard.
Yeah, I'm working
and your
on
friends.
that. Sorry.
I'm working on it.
Here, I'm gonna play a little bit of your Drunk of the Week song so the folks at home know what you've contributed to this contest.
Oh, right on.
Well, I've been drinking since the sun came up. Started with bloodies in a coffee cup. I'm seeing double, man, but that's alright. You know I gotta be the drunk of the week tonight. Hey, yeah, alright.
That's Fierce Beard contributing to our
So
Drunk
good.
of the
I
Week.
listened to that in my car, Fierce Beard, just so you know.
Moscow's favorite song.
That was me, yeah.
Words to live by.
That was me.
I felt like it was a Nickelback cover or something.
Kara, that's fucked up.
Yeah. That shit ain't right.
Yeah, baby.
That shit ain't right, girl.
The Nickelback covers Fierce Beard.
Oh, man.
Might be so.
I'm all fucked up, though. You know, sorry if that, brings your show down.
You being fucked up or you sounding like Nickelback? What do you think brings it down?
God damn it. I never wanted to be compared to Nickelback. Ever.
I'm so sorry. Nickelback doesn't want to be compared to Nickelback.
Maybe that's not a band name we should talk about when you're drunk. It's not the easiest to enunciate properly.
Unless you're in Nickelback.
Nippleback.
Nipple. Oh.
Nipples.
Yeah, well, as long as it's coming out of, Sam it's one of them Sams.
Calzone. It's Calzone.
One of them Sam thingers. Shit, yeah.
I hate my new fucking... Rhapsody bought out Napster.
Yeah.
And the whole thing sucks now.
Just get it all on YouTube.
Yeah, because you don't feel like a criminal anymore?
No. I've been paying for Napster for 7 years.
You're still a criminal.
For unrelated reasons.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I am, but it has nothing to do with this conversation. And now I can't look up tracks. I mean, I should have had Nickelback up 2 minutes ago. And this new fucking Rhapsody pisses me off.
You know, you guys compared me to,
I'm changing your name to Fierce.
Norm MacDonald.
Fierceback.
Yeah, that guy. Norm MacDonald. Now you compare me to Nickelback. And you might as well
all the douchiest sounding entertainers that we know.
It's not bad enough that they're from Canada. But
Fierce Nickel. On a scale of 1 to 10, how drunk are you?
I do kind of like Fierce Nickel.
Oh, I'm pretty hammered, but because I had to fight with my boss today.
About what?
Well, about the fact that my boss is my other boss's daughter. And I'm just not allowed to,
You were arguing that point with her?
My boss is my...
No, I'm just not allowed to, apparently I'm not allowed to be upset with my boss's daughter because he's her daughter.
I understand.
That sounds like a Nickelback tune.
I understand, too.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Nickelback tune, yeah.
Drunk of the week, oh yeah, drunk of the week, oh yeah. Fierce Spirit is drunk of the week. This is the news segment. Our name is Moscow.
Oh my God!
What is this? I feel like a wrestler's about to walk through the door and start slamming people.
Yeah. Fierce Nickel is.
Fucking 2x4. My steak. Where's my steak?
In your pants.
Can you play some Norm MacDonald over this?
He's fucking at. No, I don't even have it anymore.
I don't even give a care.
These asswipes have sold more albums than we'll ever have downloads. That makes me depressed about the human condition.
Yeah.
My son makes more fun of Nickelback than they actually does the Foo Fighters. So
yeah,
I don't even know what that means. But
all right, hey, Nickelback, Fierce,
they're really bad.
Nickelbeard,
Fierce Nipple.
You're
back.
You're in the running for Drunk of the Week, dude.
Oh, kick ass!
I kind of like beard back.
Beard back.
Yeah.
That's
do
like
you guys do a drunk email of the week?
No, did you get a real drunk one?
Oh yeah.
Oh, people in the chat are saying that they're emailing you.
I gotta go, Fierce Beard.
They are. They are.
Hang on, I've got. I also have Blobber Gleeby Glop on the line.
Oh
Bleeby,
no!
Blobby, blooby, blooby.
Blooby, turn all your shit off. Blooby, turn all your shit off so I can. Jesus.
Blooby's drunk.
Blooby, turn all your shit off. You have to hear me telling him.
That's really good advice too.
He's in Quebec. He should be.
Are you ready to talk to me now, Bloob?
There you go.
Hey, hello. Are you? Is this a Drunk of the Week call, Bloob?
Yes.
How drunk are you?
We can't turn all his shit off.
Blobby.
Can I hear you?
Can I hear you? I don't know.
I think you can.
Apparently not. But listen to that delay. There's like a second maybe.
Yeah,
it is
a long time.
Let's just all say everything twice. Get them all confused.
Hello?
I think he's tapped into the satellite.
How drunk are you, dude?
Satellite of love.
Can you hear? Can I hear you?
Can yeah.
Hello?
Hi.
No.
I guess he can't hear us.
I can't hear you.
Yes, you can.
It's too bad.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Can't hear
look at the
you.
TV. We're nodding our heads.
Blobber.
Is this working properly?
Just let him figure it out.
always love you.
Maybe Whitney drove herself to drugs, listening to her own fucking songs. Bobby Brown, I apologize.
I can't hear shit. I mean, I hope you guys are hearing me.
Oh yeah, we got all that. Oh yeah, we're there.
Good night.
Good night, Blubber. It's pretty close.
Yeah, he was kind of on key there, actually.
Until the end.
Don't like
See, we don't need Whitney.
Which one's Blubber?
The alive one.
Too soon!
Right. Okay.
Twitter game?
Can we taste this? I need some feedback on this beer.
Yeah, what do we got here? The Moscow beer?
Yeah, the recipe's in your email. Yeah, it's a Belgian double. This is not a kit for the first time, and this is like the 8th batch now, and this is not a kit. This was a recipe that Phil designed, and then the two of us brewed it.
It's all right. It's pretty thin.
Yeah, that's that one.
What temperature did this ferment at?
It's 63.
I didn't get any.
Did you ever raise it up at the end or anything?
No.
It's got a lot of salt for your shame.
It needs to be warmer.
Looking out.
And there needs to be more mouthfeel in it. And it's a little too bitter.
The Jew. Now, to read you a
More
interview
beer
he
over
has done.
for Susie, please.
Because he's Jewish, and he's...
Did you say that it's a Belgian ale or not?
Belgian double.
Oh, that's
Give me
good.
that another one again.
Good.
There should be
Does
less
it taste
Belgian
like?
But it tastes like an amber saison. It's very bubblegum.
It tastes like a Rogan beer.
Yeah, lots of bubblegum for sure. Lots of bubblegum, lots of
Tastes like
sulfur.
8 things.
Scott the Jew, with you now to read you a interview he has done.
It's a good Belgian
Because
double.
He's Jewish.
It's okay.
And he's L'chaim.
No, it's not.
Once again, Scott the Jew.
Fail.
No?
Fail.
What's wrong with it?
Because why?
It does not taste anything close to a Belgian.
Maybe all the things I said when like a minute ago.
Say them again, you asshole. You don't have to be passive aggressive. I wasn't listening to you.
I was talking to Doc.
Fail.
Yeah.
What do they talk? What's wrong with it?
I think it's a little too thin. It was fermented probably a little too cool. It needs a little more body malt. And there's a fermentation or a yeast issue. Probably yeast is probably a little stressed or something like that. Hence the bubblegum flavors. I don't know. Maybe
Lots of bubblegum, lots of sulfur,
bubblegum.
lots of definitely bubblegum and sulfur.
You're right.
Some
I take it all back. It's not good at all.
Some cider flavor too, like
Talked out of it.
Yeah, it really tastes like an amber saison. It's a decent for your first recipe that you've ever done. It's not bad, but it's definitely not a double. It's not malty enough at all. And
Your friends will drink it for
a little
sure.
too bitter. Yes.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Tell them it's an amber IPA, and they'll be all over it.
So you fermented at 63, you said?
Yeah, give or takes. It
the
wasn't temp control. It was consistent,
Well,
but
that's what
not
it
temp
was.
control.
Okay, now at the end, did you take it into room temperature and let it finish out?
Yes, in the bottle. Yes, not in the carboy.
Okay, but it still did that. Okay, good. It might get better in the bottle. Actually, I will let it sit longer.
Give it some time.
Yeah.
How long has it been in the bottle?
Oh,
How
this
old
just
is
got bottled at maybe like 5 days.
Yeah, I'd give it more time.
Oh, this sucks. Don't ever give it to me again.
It should be more.
You drank the first glass I gave you.
Yeah, well, I thought I had a different beer.
Scott, how was he?
Wait a minute.
How was he on the second glass? That's the real taste.
Same.
Oh, you drank it all?
Almost.
For your first recipe that you guys did, I think it's a good start. You're in the right direction, but get that temp up to like 70.
Hey, don't brew lagers. This is a hint.
How did Doc go from being like, Moscow, I thank you for everything you do, to I'm going to tell you you're a fucking asshole for the rest of the show?
After he drank the first
Even
glass
I'm
of
feeling
it.
bad about what Doc's saying.
Jesus. All right, I'm going to list you your Drunk of the Week people. You're going to think about them while JP does the Twitter game. Your Drunk of the Week nominees are Barley Ever Sober.
Get
it?
Scott the Jew. With you now to read you a...
Ellis from Texas was real drunk. Fierce Knuckles. Nickel Fierce.
That was Fierce Knuckles last night. What?
Fierce Nickelback.
Yeah. Back knuckles?
I do like back knuckle.
Back knuckle is awesome.
I don't know what that means, but I love it.
Back knuckle was pretty drunk. And then Blobberglop, who everything was working properly, he still couldn't hear us.
No.
I'm pretty sure he could hear us, but he was drunk enough that he couldn't hear us. And he sang I Will Always Love You, which clearly was a tribute to Doc.
Right.
So those are your 4 nominees for Drunk of the Week. Think about those, because remember, it must be unanimous, and you might have to state your case for who you're voting for.
Oh, wow.
All right, Jip, Twitter game of the week was you put up a picture of Moscow, and then
yes, I did.
People had to make positive comments about him.
And they were pretty good ones. I narrowed them down to more than 2.
Is it like positive dripping with sarcasm or really positive?
Well, why don't you, let me read them.
Did it look like him, or was it good art?
It was good art. It was a picture of Scott. So Kyle Schmidt says legalizing skateboarding and marijuana are practically the same thing, and I compliment you for realizing this. Because he has Scott has a hat here. I'm going to put it. Scott, hold that up to the camera right there, so everyone can really see your.
I saw that.
Spot skateboard leaves. Yeah,
skateboarding with the marijuana.
They are practically the same thing.
It's not a crime.
I didn't even notice that. That's what his stupid hat said.
I didn't even know skateboarding was illegal.
Skateboarding is not a crime.
I have a passion for skateboards.
That are not illegal.
Yeah.
Right. Selling pot while you're riding a skateboard might be a crime.
Okay, Gator Beer says, quote, parenthesis, in a creepy voice, in parenthesis, my, what nice eyes you have.
I do have nice eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Luke Goodroad says, Jewy with a chance of shame.
I like it.
It's pretty funny.
Is that positive? Yeah.
I guess not, but it was funny, so I put it in there. It's basically positive or funny.
Okay, good.
Homebrew Brian says, you have a nice hat. I like hats. Hats are neat. You have a neat hat that is also nice. It is a nice hat that is neat.
Right.
You said too much hat.
He's out.
He's out. Homebrew Brian, hat. Sorry, Bray. I tried.
I
tried. Jacob says, look at you. You're such a snappy dresser and on such a budget.
A t-shirt and a hat.
And
too much hat.
The Katie Moore says, I thought Fred Durst ruined this style of facial hair. I was wrong.
I like that.
Oh, I like that.
Although that's not...
We've made fun of my goatee on this show before. I shaved my goatee on this show.
It's a compliment. She was wrong.
That's true. But that's not a compliment.
It's not?
You're
I
right.
like the comment, but that's not a compliment.
Well, I thought it was enough for me to put it in
That actually
there.
cut me to the core.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not a compliment. It's not positive.
Not at all.
Don't make it change your style.
Believe me, it won't.
So that's it.
Okay.
Those are the ones.
I think it's clearly the skateboard marijuana guy.
Yeah,
I
right?
think so too.
I mean, that's the most positive one. All right,
Well,
that
laughed at
guy,
that.
what's his
Kyle
name?
Schmidt.
Kyle Schmidt, you've won
Good job.
our Twitter game of the week. JP, in sometime in 2012, will send you a prize for that.
That's true.
All right, back to our Blobberglop's on the line.
Can we hear him?
He hasn't. All these years, he's less apt at figuring out Skype than I am. It's never ever worked. Yet he tries every week. But now he's on the regular phone. Hi, Blobber.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you fine now with
Hello?
old technology and
Hey,
shit.
Blobber, can you hear us?
Yeah, because Skype translates into Canadian.
Hello?
Is he there?
Blobber, are you there?
Hello, Hello.
Hello?
Maybe his radio. Is it?
Blobber.
Is it feedback coming? I can't.
Did you press the button, Jay?
Blobber, turn off your radio.
Blobber, I love you.
All I hear is us coming through.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Fart noises.
Oh, he got us. God damn it.
Well, he got some of us.
He's smarter than us.
Kara likes a good fart joke.
I do.
Not even a fart joke, just the word. Fart. Oh, shit!
Hi, Blobber. What can we do for you? We did hear your song, by the way. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was real
awesome.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say hi while I'm peeing.
Try to talk over it for us, will you?
Okay.
I'm down here. Listen to this.
I don't even hear it.
Canadian flushing.
There's some water running.
They have weird toilets in Canada.
Yeah, they do, because farting Canada.
It sounded like a bulldog eating.
Well, it's just a dog in a hole there.
That's a Canadian toilet. Dog in a hole.
Well,
they do eat shit out of Canada.
Well,
it's a dog in a hole.
That's Eastern Canada.
Sorry, yeah, that's not.
Western Canada is just like,
a hole.
Adopted children.
I see.
hole.
All right.
Blobber?
Yes.
Is that all?
Yeah, pretty much. I have nothing.
All right, you're in the running for Drunk of the Week.
I've been peer pressured to call in. Now I'm calling in, and I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to be in the house right now, not to bother anybody because it's really, 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 really late.
You have peers?
Are you drunk or not?
Well, usually yes.
Are you now?
Hello?
What?
Oh, quite.
Okay. All right, you're in the running for Drunk of the Week, dude.
Hello?
All right.
Later, brother.
I didn't hear any
As
of that.
he crawls back through the snow.
All right. Needs to be unanimous. Drunk of the Week.
Oh, sorry.
Barley ever sober. Raise your hand if he's our Drunk of the Week.
He was pretty all right. He was good. He was good. He was
I don't remember.
Okay. Does anybody vote for him officially?
No.
No official votes.
No.
All right. Ellis from Texas. Raise your hand if he's Drunk of the Week.
He was good.
Yeah.
Well,
I
see, now
thought he
this
was
is the
good, too.
problem because we're already not on unanimouses.
Well, but this
doesn't mean I'm
we're
gonna hold
have
out.
to- yeah, we got to. You have to convince him.
Can you play back a little for us so we can remember?
This isn't a hockey game.
Yeah. What do you think? This is a professional radio show? Or
We used to be able to, but we upgraded.
Are these things on demand? I don't have it. Yeah, since I don't. Yeah, after you left, everything fell apart, Doug. We don't have anything like that.
Damn it!
Fierce beer, fierce nickel.
Yeah.
Fierce nickel.
Okay, I'll vote.
I'm voting.
I'm getting peer pressure to vote also.
All right.
Wait, what?
Fierce nickel.
Well, I don't know.
You don't have to vote yet. You don't have to change it yet. It's still not. You're not. Susie's holding out also. And Bloomy Gloomy Glop Glop. Yay. Okay. So, all right, so we have two holdouts because Susie's for Bloob Glop. And
you say boob when you looked at her.
And Moscow is for Ellis from Texas.
Yeah.
So we've got two holdouts. The rest of us are all for Fierce Beard.
Doesn't Susie get 2 votes? Anyways?
I said they punch it out into the spleen.
Not with the new
Not
system.
in the new. Okay.
So we either have to convince those two to move to Fierce Beard, or they have to convince us to move to one of their people. Let's start by this. Susie, are you willing to move your vote?
Yes.
You are.
Or die.
All right.
To who?
To who would you move it to?
Barley ever
I
soap.
feel bad that you called Fierce Beard Fierce Nickel and compared him to Nickelback.
Yeah.
Because no one should ever be compared to Nickelback.
I agree with you.
Not even
on this.
Nickelback.
Not even Nickelback.
Yeah.
Because the only person that thinks Nickelback is cool is Tiger Woods.
So you could be.
He bangs a lot of chicks.
And he's white.
Yeah, but that's who he went to party with.
So you could move your vote to Fierce Beard.
I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, before we ask you to do that, Moscow.
Is it locked
You're
in?
the only one on the Ellis vote.
Okay.
Now, if you are adamant that Ellis is the guy, like that you can't move from that vote, you got to make a case for it.
I'm going to make my case. First of all, I love me some Fierce Beard, but I can't let compassion swing my Drunk of the Week vote. I'm sorry.
You're not
Susie.
going to change 5 people.
No, I am. Here's why. Fierce Beard's won before. That's the first thing. Ellis also, he was so good-natured with, even though he was a racist from Texas.
But was he drunker than Fierce Beard?
Fierce Beard is a champion.
It's a Drunk of the Week vote. Was he drunker?
Look, he's the incumbent.
Yeah, you're not trying to date anybody.
It's like
here.
radio call of the week. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Fierce Beard was drunker.
Fierce Beard was drunker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Susie?
Ellis, when I picked up, he told me that he just threw his kid at his wife so that he could go outside and make this call.
That does make him
That
drunk.
helps.
I really like that.
That was after.
Why didn't you say that when he called first time, Susie?
Hold on, I got to answer the phone.
Okay, is his kid less than 2 or older than 16?
And after the throw, will the kid be able to remember?
It's a valid question.
Did his wife make the catch?
It matters.
All right. Susie's now on the phone. Susie, we're done with phone calls anyway.
Yeah.
Just hang up on him.
Yeah.
We need Susie either to move to Fierce Beard or we all have to move over to... Well, she was for Blobber anyway. No one's moving to Blobber, right?
No.
Yeah.
No one's moving anywhere except to with us.
So, Susie, nobody's moving to Blobber. And Moscow already moved away from Ellis to Fierce
Under
Beard.
protest.
So what you're saying?
Can you move to Fierce Beard?
I already said yes.
All right, there we go.
We get to go home.
Fierce Beard's our Drunk of the Week tonight.
That's called peer
Sorry,
pressure.
Ellis.
Now, I could have been swayed to move to Ellis. I just want to point that out.
Peer pressure.
I had more time to convince you.
You let JP stomp all over your bullshit
Fuck yeah, I
and
did.
not allow you to make a proper argument that could have swayed me over.
Because I am the dominant male.
Fucked up all this shit.
You have to tell the animal, the Jew are the dominant male.
Jew?
So I looked at Scott and I said, no.
No. You cannot win.
No.
You will not do this.
I think I said,
I am the dominant male.
You cannot win.
And I said, oh. And now the dog respects me.
I rolled
for
over
being
on my
dominant
back
male.
and voted for Alex.
You have to be in the pack.
Fierce Beard, whatever.
Part of the pack.
You have to lead the pack. You are not part of the pack.
Lead the pack. Sorry, I thought the dog. I was from the dog perspective.
Oh,
I was a dog who's been listening to Caesar Milan his whole life, and so that's the dog language I speak. And I'm talking to another dog saying, "You have to be part of the pack."
Oh, okay. Well, now that I know,
and then I do that. Imagine if a dog started making that sound to another dog. Hey,
I'm coming over there.
Got it out. All right, next week, a show I've been looking forward to for a long time. We got Jamie Floyd from Ninkasi.
Oh,
yes. Who made a beer that has a Dungeons and Dragons reference. So I just want to point that out.
Did he make it in his basement?
I'm the better than everybody else one here.
You're the best.
He made it in his basement with his friends.
That's what I
I
said.
just make sure I got it right.
Okay, can he bring some?
Yeah, Jamie's coming in the studio, too.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
And we're going to talk to Jeff Irway from La Cumbre Brewing, so it's going to be an epic show.
I love Uruguay.
Can we move this back to the garage?
I don't know. What?
Doc wants to go move back to the garage.
Well, because
are you awake?
One step back.
No. He's making this beer from Ninkasi, and he's like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of guy.
I see. So the show should be back in the garage. Now I get it.
We don't.
See, JP, you should have gotten that. These are the jokes that you do.
I'm sorry. I didn't warm up enough as Doc did to make that jump.
Yeah, he didn't get the dungeon reference.
Yeah.
We don't have a basement here in Pacheco. It's the best we can do.
How if I dig a hole and we can stand in it?
Yeah.
Is that good enough?
Pretty much.
The two of you drive 100 miles to go a meter.
Can I change my drunk of the week vote to Doc?
That's why we love each other.
Yeah,
maybe.
I purposely left him out of the vote.
He was in the running, though.
He was definitely in the. He was in a secret running.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We just didn't bring it up.
Because it would have been unanimous. Be here all night. How long do you need for plugs, Jip?
I don't know. They start growing in like 3 weeks.
All right, start now. Do you need a minute?
Yeah, a minute.
See,
fine,
again,
bro.
you just went 100 miles.
I thought it was funny.
For 1 foot.
Come on, plugs. Maybe that was 75, but it was nowhere fucking near 100.
Okay, I got a plug.
You know, why do you blow my candle out to make yours burn brighter? Why do you do that to me?
Because you're not in
I don't know. It's in my nature.
See, that's a good answer, fucker. Let me read plugs and we can get out of here so I can pee.
Can you do it in 1 minute?
I can do it in a minute.
In 1 minute?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Doc doesn't believe you.
Well,
no.
You can't even do it.
Timing me.
No. Make it happen.
All right, Jamie Floyd and Ninkasi next week.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. The BN will be broadcasting live from Zeitgeist in San Francisco this Thursday, February 16th at 6:30 with Matt Brendleton from Firestone Walker and Lars Larson from Trimmer Brew-Eye. Be sure to go to 3ringcircus.eventbrite.com to get tickets for the 3 Ring Circus, a brewer's dinner and sideshow presented by Sean Z. Paxton, featuring Speakeasy Ninkasi and Schmaltz, this Wednesday, February 15th. Get all the latest information on Nate's band, Brain Oil, by going to brainoil.com, and check out Nate on Twitter at Nathan Homebrew. Also on Twitter is our very own Nicole. Follow her at beer_muse for some great beer information. Follow JP on Twitter at Major Jip with 2 P's for all things insane and of low value to your life. And be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook and Twitter. La ha ha.
Justin's in my sky and when